I'm big time into conspiracy theories, which is hilarious.
This is awesome.
Okay, so I love this stuff, and I got great material on the Curse of Oak Island. Oh,
Yes?
Oh my God, Joe. That
But
show.
this is going to be good. I've only seen
Aliens, Civil War Gold. Oh my God.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a hoot, buddy.
So
I got great stuff.
Can I start by offering you one of these?
Yeah, you can. I'm just going to laugh at you.
like a pile of cannabis sticks.
No, thank you.
No. I didn't
Don't make
think
me
so.
punch you in the face.
I have to offer because I never
no.
know. Today's Canada Day,
Wait,
right?
Are we live already?
Well,
No.
It's recording, yes.
Oh, okay. You should have told me that, maybe.
Well, it starts now.
Okay,
It
starts now.
So you don't care to enjoy any of these?
No.
That's fine because I'm not a huge user either myself.
No, I couldn't even tell you that.
I have water. You brought me a coffee. Thank you.
That's right.
Would you like an adult beverage?
No, I'm good with the water.
No? Yeah, because
what's an adult beverage?
Well, I've got a lineup here of
a lineup.
Yeah, it's behind. Does any of that?
Are you going to serve it like you in that coat, like I saw in that picture? What were you doing? You in your birthday suit with your coat on?
If you'd like me to.
No, God, no. Once is enough, Joe. Once is enough.
So none of this interests you?
We'll stick with the water for now.
Water?
I think
Yeah.
that's good. We're trying to stay
problem.
healthy. I love these coasters. This is fantastic.
Yeah, they're good ones, eh?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so before I know we're gonna have tons to talk about.
Yeah.
Whatever we're gonna talk about. I want to start with something though.
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to have lots of good stuff to say.
Okay.
I just want to say, because I'm going to put this on silent first. Make sure, was that you?
It wasn't me.
Yeah, it was me.
But good idea. I'm going to shut that down.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about...
Joe gets all my attention. Here we go.
I love it. This might be... We've had lots of conversations. It could turn out to be our longest conversation.
Yeah.
Could be.
We'll see.
So, you were my... creative writing teacher. I forget what grade.
11 and 12. Definitely 12 for sure.
12, and then my OAC English teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you have grade 13 back then? We did. All right. OAC.
So, like myself, a lot of people favorite teacher, you.
Thanks.
Yeah, but I think you maybe hear that quite a bit, but it's really a good thing. I've had... it's funny because when I think back, I had good teachers, but some of the ones that stand out are for sure you, and I had other ones, but by far at Lakeshore, even though there's other good ones, you're like way at the top. And
too kind.
No, but legit, and a lot of people felt that way, and I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons, besides you being awesome, that I'll try to word this well for you.
Okay.
I'll try to put the old English skills to work.
Oh, here we go.
No, but your delivery of material was really good. So just how you brought stuff up, because I remember one thing that brings me back really well was when we went over Grendel. Great book, but I often think about if I read that book outside of the classroom, would I have actually liked the book? Because I liked the book so much because of how you taught it to us. Your teaching style was... It resonates. I would leave the classroom remembering things. And, yeah, and if you remember in high school, I wasn't a great student. So
I think you were you bloomed a little late, Joe. But I mean, sometimes a flower takes a while to show its petals, right? So you're just a weed coming out of the grass there for a while, and then you turn into a sunflower. So good about it. But I think as far as students go, you just have to find what motivates kids, right? And I think all kids want to learn and want to do well. It's just a question of bringing that out of them. So good teachers, and you first off, you mentioned me, but there's a boatload of great teachers that were at a lot of schools. But we had a really good crew there at Lakeshore for a while, and they were able to draw some really good things out of our kids. So I think the delivery, my dad always told me, was
I'm just checking the audio. Sorry. I just want to make sure it's all working. It's my first time having it back
staring
there.
at the top of my head. I was like, I'm in mid-story, and I'm like...
No. It seems like everything's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, I just think when it comes to delivery that way, if kids are comfortable and they feel accepted in your classroom,
that's a good one.
You know what I mean? And you're serving kids, and so what you want to do is there's so many different learning styles in a classroom. You just try to first off make sure that you're reaching all different kids and how they learn. Left brain, right brain, balanced brain. Creative writing was a great class I used to do. I don't know if you remember this, but I used to cut out a piece of a comic book strip. And it was some guy, in the back by a dumpster. So it was just a cartoon, not a cartoon, but something out of a comic book. And it had a thought bubble there. And I would just erase what was in the thought bubble. And I would give it to everybody in class. Now, everybody thought this was an assignment, but it was really a diagnostic that I was using. Because I would look at it and say, okay, write me a story. Go. Based on this picture.
Right.
And you'd have some kids that just like, great. And they'd just start writing a story. They'd look at the picture and setting and everything. They'd just start writing away. And then you'd see other kids who would struggle. Their hands would come up. My science and math kids who would raise their hand and be like, Mr. Gifford, are we going to get marked for this? And I would be deliberately vague and be like, I don't know, maybe not. We'll have to see. Just keep writing. And they couldn't even stop themselves. Meanwhile, the other kids are just writing away and doing their thing. And they would be like, Mr. Gifford, is this going to get graded? And I'm like, it might not. Just write me a story. Yeah, just go. Hand up again 3 minutes later after they've got like a sentence down. Mr. Gifford, like if I did a page, like would that be enough to get an A? And I wouldn't tell them the answer. I just said, just keep writing. But,
I like
because if I said this has to be a page and it's going to be marked, but because that's all they'd give me.
Right.
Whereas the other kids do my favorite thing as a teacher when you were writing is they would write when you got to the bottom right hand corner of a page. They'd write the word over in an arrow. Like I wouldn't have thought to turn the page over.
It's over here.
They just let you know, right? If these are the same kids who put like bracket, ha ha, or LOL, right? They just like, this is the spot you're supposed to laugh in the story, right? So
that's hilarious.
So they would do that kind of stuff. So I would just always try to be real with kids, and my dad always told me, he said, you can open a mind with knowledge, which is fine. It's a kind of just an expression, but he said you can open a heart with laughter. So if you get kids laughing and you get them having fun, then you can take them down any road you want when it comes to learning. So you were having fun and learning at the same time, and that's probably the secret.
It was amazing. And
thank you, Joe.
But I don't know if you actually realize that how good of an impact that has on us. Like when I talk to a lot of kids and we talk back about high school, your name comes up very often.
Wow,
that shows a lot to me, and that's why I'm really happy that you came out here, because I didn't
Come
think
on, Joe. I wouldn't miss this. Are you kidding? There's so many of you guys that I'm so proud of. I could sit there for hours. Honestly, we could take this podcast, talk about all the kids, your class, couple years before, even now as principal. I just see some. We just had a great group of kids. You look at kids in your class, people who've graduated before, after. You've got so many people doing so many great things. And, I'm just happy to have been a small piece of it, right? And you're looking and you're watching, Danny General doing what Danny's doing. You're watching Matty Matheson do what he's doing. And
awesome.
And for them to contact me or to reach out on Facebook or to say, hey, be in my TV show. Like, I'm like, what? Like,
that's
that was
so sick.
Fantastic stuff. So I just, now when I get older in life, when I'm only 5 years away from retirement, whereas I get to look back now on things and I get to see all these great kids that I've had who are now adults and doing fantastic things. Don't get me wrong. It benefits me, right?
Yeah.
It's a circle of life, really, because, one day, my son was already talking about, wow, maybe I should get a house in Waynfleet. Well,
wow.
You're my
That'd
guy,
be amazing.
Right?
He mentioned Waynfleet?
Yeah,
That's
he
so
did.
Sick. Yeah.
And I said, and it was the coolest thing coming out here, because the first time I ever saw, what did it say? Caution, horse crossing. Where did that sign come from? Like, you don't see that sign anywhere else, right? Only in the fleet, right?
I love it.
That's fantastic, right? Anyway, the real estate agents and the lawyers and the chefs and and even when I remember when my kids were young, one time we went to Shirkston. Everybody laughed at my family because I live in Ridgeway, and all the teachers were like, "Where are you going for vacation?" I said, "I'm going to go to Shirkston." They're like, "Wow, you're really taking a you're really not going to Vegas. Hey, just going down the road 8 minutes." And I just remember going there with the family. The kids were young. And my son just waiting in line, and Matt McQuilkin of all people working on the water slides, like one of my former football players. And he saw me with my son, and he just when Christian was up in line, he just went, "You don't wait in line anymore. You just come right up to the top. You run past everybody, and you get on this water slide."
That's amazing.
Same kids are different group of kids, but same kind of thing. "Hey, Mr. Gifford, here's a pizza you ordered." I'm like, "I didn't order a pizza." "Here you go, Mr. Gifford. I get ice cream for 4 with the family." And, it's whatever back then. It was like $12, $15. And I give him a 20, and I get a 10 and 2.5 change. I'm like, "Come on." Like, your money's no good here. Little
That's
things
awesome.
like that. So, you know what? They just paid it forward too. So it's all a good thing. But I love teaching. I hope at the end of my career, I will have it balanced perfectly, Joe, where I'll be 15 years in a class and 15 years as an administrator, principal or vice principal after 30 years. And I hope that I'm always remembered as a teacher. I'd like to think that at heart that's what I was, what I am, and just that I just have the whole school as my classroom now. So
how's that being principal? You were VP before.
I was vice principal. When I left Lakeshore Catholic, I was vice principal at St. Michael. 2008 to 10. Then I went to Dennis Morris for 3.5 years. And the last as VP, and then for the last half year as principal.
Right.
For a semester.
Right.
And then, but I had already been appointed to Lakeshore Catholic for the February, for the second semester. So when I went, I was just kind of finishing up the semester from October to February at DM as principal. And then went to Lakeshore Catholic for 4.5 years. And then now I'll finish off at St. Mike's.
Right. You sure? Yeah. It could change.
It could. You never know. You serve the board and wherever they want you to go. But
so, principal versus being a teacher.
Yeah.
Differences, pros, cons.
Yeah. There's it's different.
Right.
I will say this. There's a lot more. I didn't appreciate, and I think anybody who's listening, who hears this, who's a teacher or who's an administrator or just a student,
right.
You don't get the full scope of what's happening in a building when you're just teaching your 3 classes. Like there's so much more going on.
I believe it.
Like you have no idea. And so when you're a principal or even a vice principal,
way more comes across your plate.
Way more comes across your plate. I will say this, as a vice principal, that is truly the heavy lifting in education. Any vice principal, Catholic, public, private, like they are warriors. They're in there. There's the frontline soldiers. I was there for 5.5 years as a vice principal. It is, and so you can imagine.
How so?
Oh, okay, so you can imagine coming from being a teacher and being, respected and liked by your students to immediately going to a role of a vice principal, and you can't, you have to.
You're punishing them.
Well, you're disciplining them.
Disciplining.
No punishing, I guess. Really, it's semantics at that point in time. But what it is you're
just gonna adjust a little bit. Sorry, keep going.
It's just a different role. And then what you really get to see is you really start to go down the rabbit hole in education when it comes to the things that come across your desk, which isn't, little Joe and TC and his buddies, they all went out on a canal bank, or they all nipped off in the little, spot by the, the pool and, twisted up a big fatty or did something like that. You're talking now with kids with like massive mental health issues and, trying to be the front line of defense, really. You're actually like almost a broker. Here we are trying to get kids services, parents who don't know how to get kids services for mental health. They don't know how to get them into pass stones, the waiting period is 6 months. You're dealing with that. You're going to, hospitals. You're dealing with that type of stuff. You're dealing with kids who get kicked out of their home, or kids who are on social assistance. And, I taught my 3 classes, and, I coached the football team, and I went home. Yeah. And the only thing I worried about was, well, what am I going to teach tomorrow? Yeah. And now, in this role, I'm, what am I going to do for this kid tomorrow? Right. Who needs my help? Who needs furniture? Who needs my help getting a home? Who needs my help? It's intense. Yeah, it gets intense. So it's different. But don't get me wrong, different but not less rewarding. You can really, in this role, really help people and serve people, the most needy people, and then still maintain that kind of, what I'd like to think is, I'm a firm believer in this. I know a couple other of my colleagues are as well, that if kids are in school and they feel safe and they're having fun, they'll learn and be set up for success. Right. So I would like to think that, the kids at St. Michael's, the kids at Lakeshore Catholic, when I was principal there, they were having fun, and if you're having fun, and you respect the building, and they just, all those things, just type of, all the other problems kind of decrease. If they're miserable and they hate coming to school, there's going to be problems. If they like their school and they actually care about their school, they're happy. They don't vandalize the school. They're happy to be there. They're not causing problems. So it sounds so simple, but have fun. Yeah. And make their time enjoyable. I mean, I always interacted with kids. My thing for me as principal is sounds so silly, but it's cafeteria duty. Right. I do cafeteria duty with my vice principals at school. I don't want teachers to do it because I can save their minutes and they can use them to cover classes. Right. And I do that. And that way I get to know all the kids. I get to see them all. I get to interact with them all. I'm chirping them about their lunches or what do you got there? The iPhone 2 Plus? Like, what is that? Like, seriously. I mean, I'm an old man, 51 years old. I got an iPhone 8, for God's sake. What are you carrying around there? A tin can and some string? Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so we're just, you're chirping kids and having fun, and you just get to know them all by their first name, and, that's awesome. Then they're invested.
That's awesome.
I just asked the staff too. I said, when you start, I always use the analogy of like a bacon in it. This is hilarious watching your face here at all these different places.
You like that one?
Joe with the hairnet? Yeah, that's fantastic. I asked him at the beginning, I said, if you had bacon and eggs, as a breakfast, I said, the chicken participates because, he gives an egg. Right. She gives an egg. But the pig's invested. Pig gives his life for the place. Right. So I asked them all, I said, I need you to be pigs for these kids, for this building. Wow. Give it all. Wow. And so we have t-shirts that say all in, and let's do it. So that's amazing. So if we can do something for the kids, whether it's, our kids that have, 90% who are doing awesome, or if it's the marginalized kid who needs help, we're, we'll do it all.
I don't know if I'm running into technical difficulties here.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see the TV. This is my first time. Every time I try something a little bit different. Look, are we still okay? Like the screensaver kicked on. But it's still recording. That's recording. Right?
I'm going to turn around here. Oh my God, that's me.
Is that rolling?
Joe, they say the camera adds 10 pounds.
No, you look great.
I'm saying the camera adds 10 pounds. And what, you got 4 cameras on me right now? Oh God, look at my chins.
You're hilarious. No, but this is recording. All right. And audio's going. Yeah, okay, back. All in. That's awesome that you're setting the standard that way.
Well, I think I just think if
it seems to you it's so simple, but it's this is key.
Yeah. I think you gotta be invested in whatever you're doing. Look at how invested you are. Honestly, in what you're doing.
100 million
% that you're doing. Yeah, 100 million %. Not even.
No messing
around. Real. Not even a real number. But you know what I mean. It's oh my God! Look at that.
There it is.
The gold jacket.
That's amazing. I was hoping that would come
up. For those in radio land, this is Joe and I out front of this school a couple of years ago.
That is so sick.
Wearing the gold jackets.
That was so sick.
Great. That jacket was clean, Joe. It was
That's
clean.
back when it was clean. I know.
I don't mean physically clean. That's the expression the kids use now. Like, if it looks great, that jacket was clean.
Clean.
That's
nice.
a clean jacket.
Nice.
No, it definitely wasn't clean. But in the term you mean. But it was light. I thought it was going to be all like if the school burst into flames that day, you and I would have been safe in that jacket.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Nothing was penetrating that jacket. But it was light. It was crisp.
The school looks even way different than we were there.
Oh, yeah, much different. We had a nice $6 million reno there. And
nice.
Put some class on the front, got rid of the portables. Look at my hands in that thing. Look at
it's awesome.
It looks like a bunch of bananas. Like
that's a legit thumbs up right there. That's a funny one right there too.
I love Joe. You know my favorite part of like watching your. First off, we'll get to your burger stuff too because I thoroughly enjoy that.
Do you?
I do. It's hilarious.
We got to do one. That'd be great.
Oh, I would love to do a burger, like just an impromptu burger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've got the Joe Gonzalez system down. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, you walk, like I know what happens, right? You kind of give a shout out to Robin every time. You're like, okay, Robin, we're here. You say that and it's the bite.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first you say where you are, which is kind of key to the whole damn thing. And then you take your bite, and you've got this nice Now you were doing that before when you were just going to different places and taking like you had that, but you've changed it up a little bit with your burgers, right?
Yeah,
because it's the same noise, right? So we're not changing the word. Like if you were,
it still
if you
in
were,
there?
No, it's awesome. There all the time. But you always. So if you were writing it, right, you would be like, right? It would just be a bunch of M's,
right?
Right. But now with the burgers, it's like the thoughtful, right? You change it, go. Right? You change the intonations, right? You just say Right? It's great. Oh my God, you got to watch it now and listen for the It's the best part of it, right? And then you're sitting there and you go, and you usually start it with good burger. Every place got a good burger, although a couple that were
not as good.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. I don't want any nasty letters on my Facebook, but it was, there's a price point, obviously, which is important, which should be to most people, right? But in there, I love the location. Sometimes you've done it in some pretty crappy weather and things like that. It's freezing cold. I'm eating a burger and it's 9:45 in the morning. Don't worry, it's still good. It's great. And
they're fun.
They would be fun. Now, I got to ask you, because I don't know if I've ever said this.
Yeah.
Or you've ever said this, really, not me. This isn't about me, but if you got to go your top 3 burgers in Greater Niagara, what were your 3 big ones? Let's give some people some props while we're on.
Well, Oddbird, number 1.
Oddbird.
Yeah. Have you been there yet?
No.
St. Catharines.
Wow.
You want to go anytime with or without me? I'll go. If you want to go from here, I'll go. It's
funny you say that. One of my colleagues just went there at lunch the other day and was talking about a little tiny place, right?
Tiny, 24 seats.
That's it. He said he's got to go for lunch. We got to go for lunch there. So
that place is awesome.
Yeah, Oddbird. Okay, so that's one.
52 St. Paul Street. Their chicken sandwich, I think, is better than the burger, and it's the best burger I've had so far. So that tells you.
Bold statement.
I'm telling you.
Number 2.
What on the list?
Oh.
I think there's been.
I mean, let's face it. You'd have to be. You're not really what you would call yourself a chef.
No.
If you're.
No, I'm not.
Butchering, not you. I'm just saying. Like if you can't pass Burger 101, there's no hope for you. At the 5-star restaurants. But what I'm saying is, most burgers, for the most part, it's not rocket science here. They're decent. You'd like to think they're decent.
Well, you would think.
You'd think. See, Joe, now we're getting into the real sauce here, buddy.
I'll tell you what I've found so far is there's way more room for error on a homemade burger. Because they tend to be the ones that are overcooked more.
Right.
So I don't know if.
How do you like your burger? Are you like a medium guy?
I like some blood in there.
Little red? Little medium rare?
But it's as far as I understand, illegal in Canada to serve a burger medium rare.
Yes, because it has to be over whatever
temperature.
So you don't get,
So you say it's hard, or it's hard to screw up a burger, but to keep it as juicy as possible, it's a small window.
It's a tightrope, Joe.
It's tight.
It's a tight window.
So I find, and then with the backyard burgers, which tend to not be as good. It's harder to overcook those. I think it's because there's a lot of fat in them. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's true. So you can overcook it and it's still
juicy.
It's got some juice in there because there's lots of fat.
Otherwise, you're eating sawdust.
Hockey puck. Yeah,
hockey puck. Now, and I got some condiment info for you too. Moving
nice.
forward. Now I heard it's lettuce, tomato, pickles is all.
Lettuce, onion, pickle, tomato.
No tomato. Is this a Joe Gonzalez thing, or is this?
That's the gold medal burger standard of the
gold
world.
Is it no tomatoes in a burger?
Well, the reason for no tomatoes is they're way better when they're in season. So, I grew up on a farm. Growing up eating tomatoes, I don't personally really eat tomatoes out of season because in season tomatoes are 100,000,000% better than.
There it is again.
Yeah. So I didn't put tomatoes on the gold medal standard because any burger in the summer.
So when you go into a burger place, Joe, do you say, "I'm Joe, you're you. I'm trying one of your burgers, and I want the gold medal standard burger"? Mm-mm. So you just take whatever burger. Hence the time you got.
Robin orders.
Oh, so she goes in and knows what you want.
On the phone. She orders as we're driving there. Lettuce, onion, pickle only. And we have her order.
What about condiments?
No condiments.
Nothing.
Nothing. Somebody put in like ketchup, mustard, relish in the bag, and I took some marks off because it shouldn't have even been in the bag.
Look at you. Took some marks off.
Here's people.
I want your assessment rubric for this.
Well, that's the thing. People ask me how I grade and all this stuff.
Yes.
But part of it is just getting the freaking order right.
Yeah.
So if you get the order wrong, like Mr. Mike's put cheese on the burger, disqualified.
Wait a second. Time out.
Yeah.
Disqualified.
Didn't even take a bite of that burger.
You looked in, you saw cheese.
I said,
you're like, outrage.
Disqualified. Can't eat this burger.
Did you film that version?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Oh, it's a good one.
Was this Mr. Mike's in Welland?
Yeah, and I felt bad because my brother is the one that told me to go there, saying how good the burger was. And I went there, but...
There's a standard. You will not be compromised, my friend. Mm-mm. Cheese? Send this poison back.
Yeah.
Disqualified.
Yeah.
People reeling. The chef lost his job. He didn't even
care.
I hope he didn't.
I hope not. But...
No, I hope not too. Anyway, that's hilarious.
Yeah, Hamroyer and St. Catharines, they put on tomato, so I hit them up pretty hard too because there's no tomato. So that's... People put in condiments in the bag. It's gold medal burger. There's no condiments. None of that stuff. Keep it away.
Okay, but I don't know, Joe, if your wife calling ahead that they know that this is... I know you're not going to say it's being assessed and evaluated, this burger. You want a real live reaction.
Yeah.
But maybe you've got some poor employee who just... Hey, they just have this on their burger in the event that they might want. Sometimes I go through...
I understand.
Sometimes I go through A&W. I don't personally put ketchup on my sweet potato fries, but sometimes I open up, there's some ketchup there.
Sure. Thoughtful. But I'll tell you...
It's costing them marks. They don't even know it.
Well, I'll tell you. I hear Robin make every order. And every order goes almost the same way. She orders a burger. She's like, I want a plain burger. Lettuce, onion, pickle only. They say, what do you want?
I swear to God, if anybody puts any damn condiments in that bag, you're losing imaginary marks you don't even know about.
You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
It's pressure, Joe.
Well, it's funny because some people were asking me to come out to review their place, and now they don't want me to go because they're worried about what's going to happen.
Oh, see.
But when she orders, she says, and they say, what would you like? Would you like fries aside? No sides. Are you sure? No sides. Any sauces, ketchup, whatever. None of that. She clarifies every time.
All right.
So it's the order. And it's not like I'm hitting somebody up hard. I think I took off 0.1. But still, it's not like I have the rubric of how it all works.
All right. Well, I think it's a good thing I'm here, Joe, because I think what I can do is help you with the rubric, perhaps. Maybe some techniques where we have like an actual marking form that we can put on your website so that anybody knows this is why,
We're still
I'm being
early.
sarcastic, but
it's still early in the class. I'm still trying to figure out what's worth what.
So Oddbird, we'll have to try that out. Give
Oddbird.
them a shout out. What other
Oddbird,
couple
so
you were impressed with?
So we just filmed a couple that we haven't even put out yet, and I think
you don't want to give it away here.
No, it's fine. We did one at Butcher, Banker, and Fawn Hill, and their burger was really impressive. And I was actually, I was a little shocked. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Like, it scored pretty high.
Huh.
And then there was another one. I can't remember. We went and we did a couple little fry trucks, and they were both great. Nunziata shot that one, by the way.
Oh,
Mike Nunziata. That was at New in Toronto.
Another legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there was one of the fry trucks, either on Highway 20 in Fawn Hill across from McDonald's or the one in Welland next to the beer store. They scored high, too. And one of them's called Mr. Chips, and the other one's, I think, Fawn Hill.
It's the one in Wainfleet here.
So Wainfleet.
The Beervendale. You went into the Beervendale and you hit one, and you were pretty impressed with that one.
Burger. That was, I think, my best frozen burger. I still haven't figured out what was so good about it. I kind of like the mystery a little bit, because if I find out, I don't know, but...
I think you got a little...
bias?
No. Oh, no. Not you. Come on.
Because the 2x4, I hit them for not having onion on the burger.
Well, they don't know what the gold standard burger is.
Yeah, exactly.
Burger. Fools. But the... No, I think if I recall, and I'm not a genius, but you were impressed with the bun.
At Beervendale?
At the Beervendale, which I love the name Beervendale. That's like, you
got
get it all here, buddy. Like,
it's all available.
Pick up your dry cleaning, go get a case of beer.
Was it the bun that was good there?
Yeah, you were, and the price point too.
Price was cheap. The patty was good. They did. There was grilled onions, which was a nice...
Grilled?
Yeah.
Did you ask for them grilled?
No.
Does it matter?
I don't... People have asked me this question before.
Really? I thought it was first. Anyway.
Onions are onions. I personally... Some people, when they comment, they say that they like raw onions, they like the cooked. I like both. I haven't come across one with an onion ring on it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tries that one time. I have no idea if it'll be good.
It will be.
Yeah?
I don't think if you fry an onion, you can go wrong.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't care what we're talking about.
I like that you've seen these, though. That's good.
Joe, I'm supporting the team here, buddy. Like, I mean, I'm
watching
all your stuff.
Compared to Musty Mondays, which format did you like better?
I
can handle honesty.
No, they're both good. They're both different. With the Musty Mondays, you were trying different things.
Right.
You were in there trying 3 or 4 different things. I think some people got right into it. Like, I'm kind of glad you're just going and doing the burger thing now, because I was just a little bit worried about your cholesterol.
Well, burgers are still a little high.
I know it is, but it's okay. Just you go with a defibrillator. But I think people started really rolling out some food for you.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I'm like, Joe, you just
I know.
can't. You're going for lunch and then you're going for a nap. Never, like, you're just taking the afternoon off. I was like, you're sleeping in the back of your Jeep there. Like,
food for 3 days after those Musty Mondays. We would have leftovers.
Yeah.
Some of them were crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
And people didn't want to feel the wrath of the gold medal burger, right? So they were bringing out all of it, right?
Nonstop.
But I liked your other Musty Monday too. First thing I liked is you're going around to a lot of local places and you're giving them some props for things and some things that you were at the one place. What were you doing? Driving a backhoe, or you were spinning around in a bobcat? Ben Berg's. You were doing some fun stuff, and then you were in that water thing and you were farting around. You were some water sports things. You were horsing around.
Yeah,
and I
905.
Yeah, that's all great stuff. And people,
you watch these, but you don't comment.
Yeah, I'm like the.
Come on.
Okay, so let me give you the straight dope here. I'm like the worst social media guy ever. I do it for the school, right? Like I kind of oversee the social media for the school, but my own social media. Can I tell you a couple things? We'll kind of
tell me anything you want.
We'll break away from burgers.
Yeah.
Without I'm gonna just here it is. So without giving names, because I don't want to give names.
No problem.
So I had a former student one time say to me, did a friend request. Let's go back. I don't know when Facebook started up. I don't know when Mark Zuckerberg
15 years ago
started us all down the road to hell. But I don't know when it all happened because when I see Mark one day, we're going to have words.
Really?
Well, because as a vice principal, my God, the Facebook, the social media drama, the Twitter drama, the this, that, and the other.
Right.
He's taken problems that used to have. You had a problem in high school with somebody, Joe. You'd walk up and say, "Did you say that about me?" "I didn't say that about you, Joe. I swear to God." "Are you sure?" "Because I'm going to take an in-season tomato and smash it off your head because I have 6 of them in my lunch bag." But with a loaf of bread and some toast, loaf of bread and salt and pepper, right? That's your standard, gold standard.
Lettuce, onion, pickle.
Lettuce, onion, pickle?
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that. I mean when you brought all your tomato sandwiches in season.
Yeah, tomato, lettuce, or...
That's it. Little salt and pepper.
We're good.
Toast it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know when the whole social media thing started, but you and a few other guys that played football for me, or I taught, I followed, but I'm not a good social media guy. I just don't really get into it as much as I should. I like Twitter. I like following things on Twitter. You can follow a bunch of your sports teams and some people that are on that team, and some sports writers, and you can kind of get a good flavor of what's happening in the NHL, the NFL. That's kind of where I live, in that sports world, for that type of social media stuff. I didn't know at times, and when I first started, you're clicking off and you're friends with people, even without, again, no names, but even colleagues, like would be taking pictures of their food, right? Like, oh, this is what I'm having for dinner, and look at how great this is, and people comment on it, and I'm like,
you don't like this?
Why are you commenting on somebody's steak? Oh my God, this steak looks great. Enjoy that steak. Cynthia, what are you, I'm scrolling through this feed and I'm looking at, pictures of people's food, and this is my, foot in a pool, and I'm like, this is not for me. Like, it's not, it's all gets, it turned into some kind of creepy stew. Like, it just, people were like, oh, that's a nice picture of your house. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay. So anyway, we had a friend request, and I was so paranoid about, because I didn't know what the standard was. Like, if you don't accept somebody's friend request, do you find out? Like, I didn't know at first.
Right.
And I was like, if I click decline, this person's going to know.
They're going to know you declined.
My God.
Yeah.
Are they going to know?
Well, I think because then if they look at your profile, it'll show as add friend again instead of just request sent, I believe.
Okay, see, so I didn't even know. So I was afraid to even accept or decline people.
Right.
So they're just in my queue.
Right.
Like
so you
40, 50 people, I leave them in the queue.
Right.
So
probably the play. Yeah.
Probably the way to go there, right?
Yeah.
So, but you would, a couple other students would, I'd accept, and it wasn't a big deal, and you don't take pictures of your feet in a pool, and, so it's fun. It's
probably put some stuff
No, these are fun things, Joe. Yeah. There's a difference between fun and, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I like your dog. That's great. I'm sure your dog's a friendly dog. I don't need to see him 9 times in one day, right? So I had to get off this train because I'm one of these OCD guys where, I get a little red dot on my phone. Like, I don't know how you are because, you're a real estate agent, but you have hundreds and hundreds of messages a day, and I do too.
Yeah.
But when I flip my phone over right now, and if I saw a bunch of, red dots next to my Facebook, or, the number 7 or the number 3 or 16 next to messages, I don't like the red. I gotta catch my stuff up.
I like it clear too.
I like it clear, right?
Yeah.
So these people, and there are times now I'm afraid to comment on somebody's things because if I said, "Oh my God, congratulations, that's so great for you," and I know that whatever it is, somebody's graduation, it's going to get another 17,000 comments.
Right.
Every single one's going to go on my phone,
and
I'm just looking at somebody else commenting on what I commented on. So I'm like, I've got to get off this train.
Right.
Like, I've got to get out of this. I can't.
Right.
Know in my head, to anybody out there listening, that I wish you well in whatever's happening, but I'm probably not going to make a comment because every single person that comments afterwards, I'm going to be
because if I don't get one, there's a lot of people are not going to get one because you've seen my stuff. So.
Yes. And you have tons of people commenting, right? So if I said, "Hey Joe, great time, thanks for having me on the show the other day,"
blown up,
and I'm like, so I'm going to say it right now. I had a great time, even though we're just getting started here, but I'm not. So anyway, go back. I get off topic, just like teaching. So I go back, so I didn't accept or anything else. And I run into this student, and they said, "Oh my God, Mr. Gifford, good to see you. Why didn't you, why haven't you accepted my friend request?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So again, I don't like being, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't really make it a habit of accepting. I'm just new to social media, and I don't really make a habit of accepting, former students." And so I thought that'd be it. Here I am at the No Frills in Fort Erie, minding my own business, and then somebody, the person says, "Well, that's not true." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean it's not true?" "Well, you're friends with boom, 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 boom." They name like 6 people, and I'm like, "Well, those are former football players and things like that, and people that I knew and other kids." And she's like, "Well, the person's like, well, I've requested like 3 or 4 times. I finally, Joe, that now it's getting awkward, right? Like now we've crossed the line to
the friendly line, and I'm like, crossed.
Do you want to do this really right here in the middle of No Frills? Like, do you want? Like, I don't need you. There's a reason you're not on the list there. Like, and trust me, I don't get many friend requests, honestly and truly. I think I'm maxed out. In fact, I've had to lean my list out because some of my cousins in the States, right? So who are, I don't know their family, but they'll never listen to this. But they are an absolute pain in the ass, right? I had to get rid of them, because they're like, I love them. Views? They're my yes. Yeah. Oh my God, Joe.
Merkins.
Oh.
Right.
Like they're intelligent people, and they're posting these most ridiculous like neoconservative things. Yeah, I get it, but you know what? It's not. I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cousin Dan. Okay. Like, don't need to talk to you, Danny, anymore. I love you, buddy. I love you. That's a real cousin.
Wow, straight up.
Cousin Dan. No thanks. Sister Kathy too. Like, oh my God, what happened to those two people? Like, I mean, we all came from basically the same stock. What? Oh my God. But anyway, so they've just gone right off the deep end, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't even.
That's hilarious.
I can't even deal with these people.
Sorry about that glass a little dirty. Yeah,
that's all right.
Water's good.
The water's good. I think the water's what stained it, but
maybe
that's the plate. Anyway, so so I found that got into just kind of a creepy stew there. So I just kind of people are, and then you just said the right play there was to kind of sit back and not do anything. Yeah, and then they could go back in and check, and people are crawling around on other people's Facebook pages and things like that. It's caused, I think, part of me is the angst it's caused, really, professionally in your job. Not trust me personally. No, I don't really care. Like I said, but there's been a lot of drama that's resulted between teens online that is really kind of occupies your time now. The things that occupied an administrator's time 15 years ago. Right. Is not the same stuff.
So when I was in high school, Facebook was, if it was there, I wasn't on it.
No.
And now...
And you would have been, so it wasn't.
Yeah, for sure I would have. Cell phones were hardly... Like, I remember the cell phone I had later in high school. It was a Fido phone with a screen this big that was gray.
Right, and you had to press, like, to get the letter G, like, you had to press 4, like, 3 times.
Yeah, the P9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's way different. So...
Flip phone.
What do kids, do they even use Facebook now, or is that like, are they more Instagram?
You know what? Kids are all Snapchat and Instagram now. Then their stories and their streaks, right? Even Twitter is kind of out. Yeah. Facebook, you know what Facebook is for? Facebook is for parents.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
I had a great speaker one time was at the school, and he said, great line. He said, Facebook is your mirror, and Instagram and Twitter are your megaphones. So Facebook is how people see you and what you want to present to people. Here's my house, here's my kids, here's my this, here's my life. And Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat are those things where you're like,
throwing it out.
Well, you don't see a lot of people getting into horrible battles, if you will, these verbal back and forth on Facebook. You do sometimes. You do amongst adults too. Like adults, at least kids. Like as they learn, you'll see. In my experience, kids in from maybe grade 6 to 10, as they're maturing, they get into some issues with regards to social media, right? And it kind of weeds its way out. But if you ever go and watch a couple adults scrap it out on Facebook, it's equally as alarming, right?
Right.
It really is. Like if there's a snow day, go on any school board's website on a snow day, right? Or if the buses are canceled, do yourself the favor.
There's going to be
there's battles all over the place
between parents against parents, or
parents against parents, parents against teachers, parents against the school board. What's wrong with the bus company? Back when I was a kid, we used to walk to school uphill both ways. I can't believe they closed the school. And then said, well, it's about safety. Those teachers have summers off. It just turns into this crazy. It just spirals out of control. It's great entertainment.
Yeah, you don't get in there though.
Never. Oh my God, Joe, never. Are you kidding? I go to work.
Yeah.
Total number of days missed, 0. Like I just go to work, right? Yeah. Be there for the 6 kids who do show up. Because here's what I learned the difference there too is in high school you cancel the buses. Somebody's got a big power switch. Boo, every kid just shuts it down. Like you got 3 kids that come to school if the buses are canceled. Right. Even if they lived across the street. In elementary school they cancel the buses. They show up.
Right.
Yeah, because parents drop them off and then go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to work, right?
Yeah.
So they drop them off.
Need
so,
somebody to watch the kids.
Canceling buses is a different thing in high school, between high school and elementary school. High school means there's hardly going to be anybody there. And elementary school means business as usual, right?
Right.
So, yeah. And if you don't cancel the buses, people are mad because they had to drive in crappy weather. If you do, the weather wasn't bad enough, so you shouldn't have done it in the first place.
You lose both ways.
You can't win.
Yeah.
But anyway, that social media aspect, it's been funny. It turned sour on me at the No Frills in Fort Erie about 9 years ago, where I was just like, hey, wowzers, people are actually care whether or not I added, I guess, but
yeah, you weren't feeling it. Yeah,
I wasn't. I don't think I was prepared for a virtual rejection actually turning into a
real life
rejection. In hindsight, I probably just should have accepted and
wrote it out. Yeah.
But whatever, it was all good.
Yeah. Just something that I think about. A couple things. Well, if I was in high school, like I said, with phones, like I talk to teachers about this too. Is that a big problem with kids on phones in schools? Because if I was in high school now, I know I'd be on my phone a lot, just as if I am now. And is that a problem? Is it a good thing? Is it
it's yeah. So I like to think that I've been a little bit on the progressive end of this. I remember when I was a vice principal at Dennis Morris, I would say, to the principal, we're fighting this cell phone battle here, and we're going to lose. And how I realized we were losing the battle was the power went out one day at the school. It was overcast, it was windy, and we lost power. And school could continue because the fireflies came out down the hallway.
Right.
There were 1,000 kids with 1,000 phones walking around in the dark, and I'm like, they all have them. Right. So why don't we progress to perhaps a policy that is, you can use your phones anywhere but in class, right?
Interesting.
And we went that way, and that seemed to be very successful. And then, as a few more years after that, it was, there's more computer and capabilities in an iPhone 6 than put somebody on the moon.
Right.
So we complain about not having devices and the internet, and we need to buy more computers and more Chromebooks, and here we are with these kick-ass computers, and everyone's got one in their hand.
Yeah.
Well, can you use that for educational purposes?
For sure.
Like, everybody go on this website and have a look at this.
For sure.
Everybody take your iPhone and put it into the Google Cardboard, and let's go take a tour of Auschwitz in a history class, and you can actually go, and you're all looking through, and it's all like almost like a VR, this thing called Google Cardboard, which is fantastic. And they're using their phones. They download the app. Everybody download the app.
Right.
And go. So you can use it. But while I say it's great for educational purposes, and when properly used can be great, but most of the time kids are just checking out stupid videos on Barstool, right? So
exactly.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
I'm trying to think if I was in high school in a classroom, I'd be using personally the phone for good and bad, because I can only imagine you teaching, talking about something, and it triggers something for me, like I'm going to Google this, and while you're talking, look into something else and learn a different thing real quick. But I could also see easily texting people in the classroom over anything, like text them during a test, what's number 7, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So like that's
and a lot of kids now have, Joe, they have a burner phone, because those little shoe racks that you have. That's what a lot of teachers use now. You go in a class, they're numbered 1 to 30, and you put your phone in a little pocket.
Burner.
Well, you got your real phone, and then spot number 17, Joe Gonzalez. You got a phone in there.
Phone's in there.
And it's like the BlackBerry Passport. I actually own that phone. My kids tease me all the time. Anyway, it's so intuitive. It's the size of a passport. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I got to take the L on that one. But I would put that thing with no battery in there. So the teacher looks through and says, everybody's on their phone. I have all phones. But meanwhile, so one of my colleagues did this great experiment. He walked in and he said, I want everybody to turn their phones on. Put their phone on the table. On your desk, sorry. Just everybody, phone on the desk, turn them on. I want notifications. I want everything volume full blast. No one's getting in trouble. Ready?
Okay, this is good.
Half an hour. We're counting all the ding. We're counting all the dings. all the little notifications that you put your notifications on. I want to hear noise. Half an hour, class of 26 kids. How many times did it go off?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
I can't even.
780 in a half an hour. The class is 72 minutes.
Oh.
Look, 25 kids. It's over 700 notifications, almost 800 notifications in a half an hour.
It's insane.
Right? So, I mean, there's distraction. Kids are great multitaskers now. They're constantly doing these things. But, does it become a distraction? I mean, remember what we just talked about. I can't handle the red dot, on my phone. If I know I have a message, like I get the agita just thinking about, I might have a message on that phone.
There's probably, same here, yeah.
I don't know why. You see, you had to say something, right? So now I'm going to have to look, right? No, I can put it away, but... like kids can, even if it's on vibrate or whatever it is, they just know, and then they'll find a reason while something's happening to go and check and find out and take a look. So I think, while I think it's an incredible tool, it's something that has to be, used properly in class time, I guess, and then afterwards have at it. They used to have things where you used to confiscate phones, like if a kid had their phone, and I used to have to deal with that.
Right.
And I just finally said, I'm not dying on cell phone hill anymore. I'm just so sick of wasting time. Remember, I think when you were in high school, it was always tuck in your shirt.
Yeah, it was a big
one.
one.
Oh my God. So now, they started doing, they just started cropping the shirts and putting the logo on the bottom.
Oh, yeah?
Keep it untucked. Here it is. And it only goes down to your waist instead of down to your knees like they used to, right?
That's cool.
Just,
easy game.
I just, we just got a sweatshirt at St. Michael's, and it's a champion sweatshirt. It says Mustangs on it. Well, it's champion. Kids like wearing it.
I love it.
Well, then they wear it because it's it's in fashion, I guess. It's if you make something nice and kids want, they'll wear it. It's not hard, but anyway, that's the thing with the cell phone. But
so how about that one? How about going from Lakeshore to St. Mike's? How's that? Because you live in
Ridgeway, yeah.
So
pretty much the same distance.
Yeah, it's almost same distance. Yeah. And then different culture, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, different. I mean, this is the thing. The funny part about you go back and look at a 25-year career, and people ask you, I get in this thing sometimes with my wife. She says, sometimes to me, she goes, I don't know how you teach high school. This is back when I was teaching. I don't know how you deal with those kids. And to me, it was like the greatest thing ever.
Right.
It still is. And she teaches elementary school, and to me, that's
more challenging.
Well, it's Dante's fourth gate of hell is sitting down there with like
you wouldn't be able to
take your head out of your sleeve, like that's what my wife says. Like, what happened today? Kids farting in class, and I can't I could deal with it, and they're cute and everything else, but I just really like the high school element. It's a different. It's kids are kids is basically what I was getting to before.
Right.
It doesn't matter the generation. Kids are kids. And so it doesn't matter whether it was in 2000 or 95 or 2005 or 2020. Right. I mean, there's so many awesome kids. It's great to interact with them, and every school has a little bit of a different kind of feel or flavor to it, which I like. I can think of even expressions is one of my favorite things. It would be in different places. Way back when I started at Notre Dame and in Welland, everybody used to say "way to."
Yeah.
Right? Like everything was way too. Like, oh my God, that exam was way too hard. They'd say it like that. Way too hard or way too long. And they would. And there's people from Welland listening. Like, it's a Welland thing. You say way too. Right?
Is it still going on?
I don't know because everything was way too in Welland. And then you'd go over to Niagara Falls and people would call each other birds.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy's a bird. And they say it like that. Bird. That guy's a bird. Like, they're Italian guys would be like, that guy's a bird, Mr. Gifford. And I was like, bird. But he'd be a bird. And then,
awesome.
And then Lakeshore had their own thing, too. They would, sweet. For the longest time, everything was sweet. They'd have like a head bob when they were doing it.
Yeah.
Like, everything. Yeah, like they would always have this kind of. So you just see different things, and you'd see it from different kids. But they were all good. They're all good kids. So regardless of the differences in generation, the kids have always been solid, and that's I guess why I always wanted to. People said, well, you can do anything after principal. Like, are you gonna go try to be a superintendent or something? God, no.
No way.
No, Joe, because to take you away from kids.
Yeah.
for me, it would be, that's what I get energy. Like, it sounds so silly, but I literally, after period 2, the lunch, it starts the beginning of lunch, and that bell goes off, and I just feel, because I don't go back, I go back into the classroom every now and then, right? If there's an on-call or something, and they're like, oh, well, do you want to do support? And I see it's like, it's a creative writing class, or it's an English class, or it's a religion class, and I'm like, I'll do it. And I just run in and go and teach again, because it's nice to do that every now and then, right? So, but that energy that I would get when I was teaching, I do it now. For me, it's the cafeteria. Like, I can go out there and you just interact with kids.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
And then you get to know them, and then you get to know them on their first name. So when they're crossing the stage at graduation, you're not looking at these kids like, I don't even know who these kids are. Like, you call them by their first name by the time they're in grade 10. I'd like to know that every single kid at the school, I have over 900 now. I'd like to think I confidently probably know about 700 of them by first name, and I've gotten to know them. So that makes a difference too when you can forge a relationship like that. But that's good.
Yeah, I just seen you at graduation the other day too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was neat. My daughter graduated, which is great. I just did a thing in my grad speech the other day. It was talking about
I missed it.
Yeah, no, it was my first one at St. Michael's. It was good because I said, I told the parents that, I told the graduates that, while this day was, this day is as much for your parents as it is for the graduates, because, they've seen you when you took your first step, and when they held you in their arms, and to them it's, know this, and I'll tell you this, life goes by pretty quick. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, oh my God. So I said, well, it's this, so I told the parents, I said, like you guys, I'm like you, I have a daughter who's leaving in the fall, so it'll be a piece of my heart that's no longer living at home. Right. But I said, I also have a child who just graduated from university, so I can share with you that they come back. They come back and they leave a mess, and they leave your car without any gas, and they eat you out of house and home, and it's like living with a ferret. There's just things all over the house, and my wife and I it was was one of us, right? The house is pretty clean, and all of a sudden, I got.
So when did he come back?
Mid-April, yeah. So
just recently.
Yeah, he just graduated.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that's good. And your daughter's going to
she's going to McMaster and
for business.
School of Business.
Yeah, and she's smart, super smart girl.
Yeah, she's like her mother.
Takes after her mother.
Takes after her mother, absolutely.
So I don't even know if we talked about this or not. I find that a little. I like it, but I find it different that somebody that excels so well going into business. I feel like us, because I took business, but. Like, she's that smart, and I think that's awesome. But usually, you're that smart, you go sciences or whatever or something. Business, I think, is amazing. Yeah. And I think that's a great recipe, but I'm a little shocked. You're not as shocked?
No, you know what? I never really worried about that. Even most kids, too. Like, it's a tough ask in this day and age to ask a 17, 18-year-old kid to make decisions about college or university, about what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. Yes. And make that decision, a financial decision that the parents are paying for, or OSAP, or whatever the heck it is.
A big financial decision.
Yeah, a big financial decision.
Not a little one.
And, halfway through, they're like, well, I don't want to do this, right? Or I don't want. So I always just say, sometimes I have parents asking me to, Mr. Gifford, what should I do here? And I'm like, you just trust it. Just trust your parenting. Trust your children. The good Lord will find a path for them. Like, just let them leave the nest and fly, right? The road to success is paved with failure.
Lots of
it. It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get up. Yeah. And so try this. As much as I say this about business aspect, there's an incredible creative side there to my daughter, which I know that somehow in business she's going to be kind of innovative with whatever she's doing, whether it's marketing or advertising or however she's going to. I don't even know what path it is right now, but she'll figure it out. Yeah. Most people's kids, they're winning lottery tickets. Just let them go cash in. Yeah, exactly. But we just don't know when they're going to cash in. But they're going to, right? Because if you're trying to force them into your timelines, well, that's not going to work. My dad was a classic example of, you need to do this, and this, and you end up resenting it. Right. You end up being angry about it when you're saying, you don't do this, you don't do that. Like, if you wanted to get off topic here, we could really. No, but I'm just saying, like, some of the craziest discipline stories, from being a kid, where, oh my God, what was
like what?
Well, like, so Like, I mean, right now, like, I don't know, like, I used to, like, yell a little bit, when my kids were younger. I realized that doesn't work. And I don't do it at work. I don't yell. I'm not a yeller or screamer. I don't yell at kids. I get angry, actually.
Football field, maybe.
Maybe. I'd say emotional, but I'm not screaming and,
right.
Maybe. But that would be at a ref. But the...
well, at football field, you just got to cast your voice loud.
You do.
But yeah.
Thank you, Joe, for that. Yeah. But I didn't yell in class, and I didn't yell at kids. And I actually like to think that I tell the staff that, it doesn't work if you're a parent yelling and screaming at your kid like that. So why would it work with other people's kids?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, we can get a little bit more accomplished that way. But that was not my dad's school of thought on that one. He was crazy stories. Like the irony one time is where my house is right now used to be just vacant land. My dad and my grandfather and my uncle are upstairs shingling the roof of their house. And my grandfather had great, nice, safe toys that we used to play with when we went over to his house.
Like what?
Like lawn darts and BB guns. Like ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Yeah, bow and arrow, go have fun, right? Like people coming back all impaled and such. But so we had the BB gun. Now, how many times, Joe, can you actually pump a BB gun?
Before you shoot it?
Yeah.
I don't know, quite a few, yeah?
Well, you can crank the hell out of it. Like, you're stepping on it, right? You're like, okay, let's do this. So we thought it'd be a good idea, my cousin Joe and I, who's a Florida police officer, retired, that we would shoot the BB gun at our neighbor's laundry that was hanging on the wire.
Oh, wow.
It would hit the laundry and fall down, and we weren't killing birds. And we thought to ourselves, you're looking at me funny, but at the time, it seemed like a good idea. So
How old were you?
Like 9.
Okay, sounds
8,
good.
9.
Yeah.
And we shot this lady's laundry up. Like half a flat of BBs, right? Like we shot the hell out of it. And I remember her sliding over. And the irony is, where the location of my backyard, my pool is that was ground zero. Like that's where we started shooting from.
Right.
My dad, like I said, my dad and everybody else is on the roof. And shingling with like potato forks. And I see this lady come walking over. We're on the lawn darts, another thing that they don't make anymore, right? Remember the big heavy ones? Like you could have killed someone with jarts, I think they were called. You could have killed somebody back then. They don't make those. Maybe we grabbed the bow and arrow, something like that. We were on to another dangerous form of toy.
Fun activity.
Yeah, fun activity that somebody could be maimed. But I see this lady go walking over and talking to my grandfather. And I see this face, and then I just see him kind of go red, and he comes over and he says, "You guys shot this lady's laundry to hell. Like, look at all these holes. You damaged everything you shot. It's her bed sheets, it's her shirts, it's her husband's dress shirts for work. Like, you shot everything." Which is absolutely 100% true.
Right.
I didn't know they went through. Neither did Joe. We were 9, 10. We're going to have to pay for this. Well, my grandfather was so mad. He said, "You stand there." And he grabbed a garden hose, and he stood about 10 feet away from us, and he started whipping this garden hose around.
Oh, boy.
And it was coming towards us, right? And we were going to get it in the back. And it's not an accurate science, right, Joe? It's kind of like waving as it's coming towards you, right?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, my God, we are going to catch it here.
This is not going to be good.
No. So I'm looking up to my father to be like,
help me
at any
out.
point in time here, you can kind of sub in here. And finally, as this thing's getting closer, my cousin Joe was going to get it first. I hear my dad say, "Joe," which is my grandfather's name. He says, "Jesus H. Christ, what the hell are you doing?" And he says, "The kid shot up all this laundry, blah, 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 blah. You, me, and Joey, his son. We each owe about $80, which back then, like 1976, was like
lots of money.
$240. Like we destroyed everything.
Yeah. And
my dad says, I never forget it. He walks down there and goes, "Give me that hose." I'm like, thank God. Like, I'll take a spanking. I'll take a smack in the ass. I'll take anything. And he goes, "Give me that hose." And he grabs the hose nozzle, the old school hose nozzle, and he screws it on the hose. And he gives it to my grandfather and goes, "Try that." And my grandfather starts spinning it around, and they're actually having a debrief as this thing is flying toward my cousin, right? He's going like this, and my grandfather's like, "This works way better." And this thing is whizzing around at him, right? My cousin Joe, he went like this, like he crouched when it was coming, and he got it right between the shoulder blades.
Yikes.
Like,
Yikes.
Again, a different time, right? Family and Children's Services. It's happening right on the front lawn here. Just whack.
Another day.
It hits Joe. Down goes Joe, right? He's laying there like this. He's screaming, whatever else. I remember my dad looking at me and going like this. He had 2 fingers. He went, batter up. Like my turn, right? And I cringed like this. I tried to like do the old convex thing with my back. And I got it in the top of the butt, right? Like lower back area. Man, oh man.
Was that the last time you guys shot up the laundry?
That's the last time we shot up the laundry, yeah. So I guess crude but effective, right?
It worked.
Yeah. My cousin Joe had the actual handle of the hose.
No way.
Like blistered on his back. It was spectacular. Then one time, the other one too was, I'll never forget this one too, which is another crazy kind of story, but...
That wouldn't fly now, eh?
No, Joe, that would not fly now. I'll never forget when so my sister and I were horsing around and I pushed her one time and she fell back over the dishwasher. Now, I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't push her to have her fall over the dishwasher, but she fell over the dishwasher and it was probably me who didn't put the knife in,
right.
Knife sharp side down. So I just threw the knife in the so
oh no,
it goes into her back.
No.
Yeah, not far.
Yikes.
Yeah, but
right.
This happened on New Year's Day.
Cat.
What happens New Year's Day?
Hangovers, no?
17 hours of football happens on New Year's Day, right? Fiesta, Rose, and Orange Bowl all on the same day. So this happens, and my dad's furious, right? Oh my God, right? He's got to take my sister to the hospital. So he brings her down to the hospital. She gets all stitched up. No big deal. She comes home. She's all stiff back because she can't be arching and everything. She starts chasing me around the house. Like this. I'm a kid. I'm running, screaming. I'm not looking to turn around. Wham! Right into the corner of the couch. Remember the couches back then? They had these big wooden things on the end. Right into the corner of the couch. Blood all over by my eye. Right at the beginning. So my dad missed all of the Rose Bowl. The Orange Bowl is about to start. And then, boom, this happened. So he's got to go back down to the hospital.
Now for you.
Now for me, right?
That's hilarious.
The other people in the hospital are asking him all these questions like, so Mr. Gifford, are you, and he's angry because he's had to drive down there twice and spend 7 hours in the hospital. So I know that even back then when things were different, I know they were asking him some questions like,
what are you doing to your kids here?
Are you all right there, buddy? Like,
yeah.
I got one girl coming with a knife in the back and then I got a son coming. His eyes blown up and he's got stitches all over his face and I swear to God, it wasn't me. And that time it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't him. So that was good too.
Nice.
And I need some help also too, Joe, on, I got to tell you.
Some help.
All right, so listen to this. How much time are you working a week? You had to put it in hours.
That's a good question. How many hours in a week? 24 times 7?
Oh, hey, I'm not the math guy. I'm just saying, standard work week would be 40 hours. You put in 8 times 5, you got a couple of days off. But your schedule is, there's a house to be sold. Someone wants to come see you on a Sunday. You go,
I don't know. I feel like I work close. Yeah.
You make it happen all the time.
So on Sundays, what I try to do is not do outside appointments. So like we're doing this today. Today's Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So I try to do this. The things that I try to do on Sundays now is this. Every Sunday, almost every Sunday, we go to my mom's for dinner. Nice. We've been doing that forever. And try to do that. And then I try to do any work that I can that I haven't got to during the week from home. And if I have to take an appointment, I will. Like show a house or rarely, but an open house or sometimes there might be whatever. But I try not to take outside appointments. I'll have people come over.
Yeah.
But how many hours? I feel like I'm like on the 16-8. And I feel like I sleep for 8 and work for 16 about. Yeah.
6 days a week.
Yeah. And then Sunday you figure however you want to figure it. Maybe.
See, that's like...
It's commitment to the game.
That's a tough road.
It's tough and it's not. Because even though I don't like every aspect of what I do, I like a lot of the stuff I do. And because a lot of it is dealing with people. You've known me a long time. I like people. So
that energizes you then. You like that aspect.
Yeah. So a lot The paperwork stuff in my job is not fun because I spend a lot of hours doing a lot of paperwork.
Do you hate the paperwork side? Do you like the people side?
Yeah.
Do you have somebody that takes care of all the paperwork for you? You have to do it.
There's a mix. I do a lot. I don't have at the moment a full-time assistant. I've gone through a few, and like we have some support at the office, but I do a lot of my own paperwork. At some point I need to alleviate that because I don't like doing the paperwork's important, right, but I don't need to administer all of it. Like there's a lot of it in real estate.
Imagine, it's interesting when you talk about time, because I remember saying this way back when I was in the classroom. You would ask kids. So imagine you in grade 11, the grade 11 Joe. If I said to grade 11 Joe, how much money? I'm gonna
pull out a quick picture. Go ahead.
How much money? Would someone have to pay you an hour? Think about this in grade 11, because this is what I would ask kids. How much money would someone have to pay you an hour for you to leave school, not go to university? Like, what would be the number? Now, any kid could sit there and say, "I want to make $1 million an hour." No, let's
realistic.
Like, we're living in fantasy world, but let's be realistic about our fantasy here, okay? So, how much money? And I remember a kid saying to me, he goes, "All right, Mr. Gifford, I think $100 an hour would do it."
Okay.
I'd work a 40-hour week, right? 8 hours a day, $800 a day, times 5. I'm making $4,000 a week.
Yeah.
Making $16,000 a month. Now this is back in 2000 or whatever, 2005. But still, he says $100 an hour clean. I'm making, that's I think that would do it for me, Mr. Gifford. And some people might be sitting there going, "Yeah, I'd do that right now."
Right.
If that were the amount of money. And he goes, and I would leave in grade 11 and start making that right now. So then I would say to him, "Okay." So you do that for a year, and you're making some money. Who cares? You're living at home, doesn't matter. Your boss comes to you and says, "We're going to double your salary, Joe. So you're going to be making $200 an hour, and you can work as many hours as you want. You can work 10, you can work 90, doesn't matter." What will 80% of the people do?
Not work that extra time? Work more?
No.
What?
What they do is they will say, "Okay, I've doubled my salary.
Work less.
I will work 20 hours
right,
and make the same amount."
Right.
And you can actually, this proves that they value their time
right
way more than they value their money.
Right.
Right? That if I make the same amount of money and I'm accustomed to making this, I'm not going to go and work twice as long to get twice as much.
Right.
I'm going to work less and make the same. So if I can get the same and work less, so they value their time way more.
Right.
And it's funny because that changes when you get older. When you're a kid, if you sat there and you said, "What's your favorite chocolate bar, Joe?" All-time best.
I don't even know. Oh, Henry.
Oh, really?
No.
See, you got
Mr. Big.
Really? Okay, so we're going to give you a Mr. Big. Go to 5-year-old Joe.
Right.
I say to the 5-year-old Joe, "Joe, I have a Mr. Big here for you right now. Full size. Remember the double Mr. Bigs?" Yeah.
Nice
real
and big.
deal. Nice and big, hence the name. Okay, so here's a Mr. Big, Joe. Right. I said, "I'll give you this Mr. Big right now, or I'll give you 5 Mr. Bigs tomorrow."
Right.
What does the kid choose?
Take the one. Give it to me now.
Give me the one.
Yeah.
They have no concept of time.
Yeah.
And they take the one.
Now. Yeah.
And I don't even care about tomorrow, because tomorrow, I'll never forget this. My son says to me, he's a little kid. I brought him to Supercross over in Toronto, and he was just into it. And he's so 6-7 years old.
Right.
He says, "Dad, I want to get a."
I think we're still good. I'm just making sure.
He says, "Dad, can I get a dirt bike?" And I know, of course, his mother's going to say, "Fat
not a
chance."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, you have to ask your mother." So he goes in, and he comes running back into my room, and he goes, "Dad, Mom said I could get a dirt bike." I said,
"What?
What? When?" And he goes like this, like so proud. He goes like this, "When I'm 30. No concept of time, right? When I'm 30. All he heard is I can get a dirt bike. He doesn't realize he's 22 years out.
Right. That's hilarious.
So he was all excited. So the kid takes the chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And then when you're older and you have the time to sit there and choose what you want to do, your time becomes way more valuable. The time will be more valuable than $4,000 a week or an extra $4,000 a week. Just to have half 2 days off is worth $4,000 just to be off.
Couple things. I'll reference something I learned in school with that, and then for how it works for me. In school, when I went to Brock for business, we had one project which talked about this, money and motivation. And it's a lot of similar stuff, but the question of the project was, does money motivate? And then you had to go off on different theories with it. And there was things that said, for example, if somebody's getting paid $100 an hour, and now you give them a raise to $101 an hour, are they going to produce more work than at 100?
No.
Answer is no, unless whatever else, other factors. But the first instinct, I think, for a lot of people is, does money motivate? The answer is yes. But then when you break it down, $1 an hour extra, right? And then it gets into, how do you motivate people to produce more? However that is. And it might not be the money. It might be recognition. It might be, I don't even remember all the things, but people aren't just...
Well, you hit the two big ones.
Yeah.
Right? It's either going to be financial,
right,
which I think is what you just said, was recognition, which is a huge part of it.
Right.
Like, I regardless of your job, like, there's people out there that are doing a great work in different organizations, and if they're not recognized, if they're not, and I don't mean recognized, here's a Casio watch. I mean, like, if they're not just even recognized, whether it's a card, whether it's somebody coming by and saying to you, if they don't keep that, and you say, we use the word motivation, but really we're looking for inspiration,
Right.
I can't motivate anybody. You can hopefully inspire someone to motivate themselves.
Exactly.
And keep them motivated.
And see, that's the thing it came down to, too, was intrinsic motivation.
Right.
And that's a tricky thing because everybody's intrinsically motivated differently. And it's what does inspire that. And that was one of the things I learned in school that was really good, just trying to figure that out. I find myself that I do have that motivation from within. Where it came from, all that, I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist, but
what motivates you? Is it the financial part of it, or just the success, maybe?
I was going to ask you the same thing about you, but with me, I really like doing the things I do. And just like when you ask me how many hours a week, is this considered work here or social? I mean, you can say both.
Yeah. Right?
Because I'm going to put it out online. We're going to get whatever and all this stuff. And it's part of the work, part of my marketing, content creation, all this stuff. But these are things that I'd love to do this with you. Yeah, I'd do this with you without any of this because this is fun. So I don't know. I don't know. Money for sure motivates me, but I just like doing what I like doing. And it's nice that I'm finding ways to make money off of doing things I like selling houses. All of this comes back to that, right? Because people comment on the burger reviews like, oh, what a life you live eating burgers. And like, I want that job. I'm like, okay, but I paid to do that. Right?
Yeah, I paid for the burger.
Yeah, I pay for the burger. I pay to go there. It's my time. And there's no direct payment for eating burgers. I make money when I sell a house.
I remember the first time I was right out of university. I went to teacher's college, and then very shortly afterwards, I got a job at Notre Dame in Welland doing the ACE program, which is, and it was a teaching job, but it was run through adult ed.
The ACE program.
Yeah,
wow.
It was kids who were struggling a little bit. They did work, and then they did co-op, and I was kind of monitoring both. So it was a smaller group of kids. They were struggling, and I think that's why I always kind of gravitated toward kids like that. So they were struggling. I was trying to help them get co-op placements and do these things, but I had a blast doing it. Anyway, so I knew I wanted to teach, and I'll never forget this. I remember opening up my first paycheck. This was old school when you kind of pulled the two apart, right? But they were kind of thing, and I pulled it. And a lot of people may look at their paycheck, but everybody eyes just go to the bottom right hand corner, which is where
the net.
Your net and your gross, right? And some people think their net is gross, but the point is, you open it up, and I look down the bottom, and it's going to get lost on the radio, but or on the podcast. But I opened it, looked down, and I immediately protected it, if that makes sense. I went like this. So. And this is my thought, Joe, when it happened. I was like, there's no way I got paid that much money for doing that for 2 weeks.
Nice.
That was fun.
Right.
Okay?
That's
so
awesome.
Here's what I did. But I'm not joking, Joe, when I say this. there's no way somebody made a
There's
mistake.
a screw up.
Somebody screwed up.
Right.
Somebody might be losing their job. So I'll say this. So this is years ago, 26 years ago. I folded in half, put it in my pocket. So I know I'm allowed something.
Right.
But it wasn't that.
Right.
It couldn't have been.
Right.
So I hid the check. And I lived like a pauper because I thought to myself,
they're going to want it back.
Someone's going to knock on my door, Niagara Catholic Police, and they're going to say, Gifford, you owe us some more money, right?
Right.
But I couldn't say anything because of the check. So I go and I work another 2 weeks, and I came, they probably sorted it out, whatever else. I go with the second check.
You didn't cash the first one?
It was direct deposit.
Okay,
so I had no control over that.
Gotcha.
So it went in. So I open up the second check. I look at the bottom right-hand corner. It's the same amount.
Double screw up.
These people have made a colossal mistake, and this is going to happen repeatedly until I say something. So,
you didn't know what you were supposed to get paid?
I had no idea.
How do you not know what you're getting paid?
What, Joe?
Yeah.
You finished university. I bartended. I worked at the pub on campus as a student manager at Wilfrid Laurier.
Yeah.
I went to teachers college. I left. I got a job.
Right.
Which is lucky now because poor kids today are struggling like crazy to get a teaching job. So I was blessed. Good timing, everything.
Yeah.
So I go there. I don't know what a teacher makes. Okay. Even a beginning teacher. But I mean, go back to what you were making prior to you doing this gig. You know, like bi-weekly, I'm taking home $600 and I'm like, woohoo, you know, like life's good. So then you go and you get a paycheck that's double that or a little bit more. And you're like, what?
This is amazing.
Something happened.
Right.
Because listen, I was working harder at the bar. What I deem to be harder working at the bar on campus, just being a student manager and whatever else.
Right.
So 3.5 months go by, and I'm like not. I haven't done anything. So 3.5 months. Think about it. I'm like what 7 paychecks in.
Right.
And the moral police, the morality police with me just took over. I'm like, I've got to call somebody. So
this money's adding up. So I got to give this back. It's going to be a lot.
I got $4,000 here, and I haven't spent anything. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I don't want to get in trouble. My God, this is a job. I don't want to lose my job, but there's no way that this is accurate, right? I'll never forget. I called, and I was like, I said, "Hello, Glenn Gifford here calling." I said, "I just want to speak to somebody in payroll." Oh, just a minute. Through I go. Same thing. Hey, Mr. Gifford calling Notre Dame. I just wanted to go over my paycheck. Oh, Mr. Gifford, we got a question for you. I'm like, oh, boy,
here it is.
For the sirens outside, right? I'm waiting for some. Says, how long did you supply teach when you were with the Halton Board of Education? And I'm like days? And they said, yeah, how many days? And I'm like, I don't remember my T4 slip, but I had to say it was around 40 maybe, right? So I said...
I want to check one thing while you keep going.
I said ballpark around 40. It's still recording?
See, like, I hope.
We're going to have to do it all over, Joe?
I don't know.
Do you want to put it on pause right now and then see if it worked?
Like, it's counting. Yeah. So this is a brand new thing I'm using today. This is showing the mic levels, but through here...
It seems to be awfully dead, Joe.
It's not moving.
You should stop it and see.
Yeah, but I don't know how to...
Restart it?
Yeah. Like, I've only stopped and then gone. I just have to hope.
Well, we got some good content here in an hour and 30 minutes.
Like, it's showing...
Well, what are all these little lines here? Like, this is like when sound came up, right? But shouldn't there be...
So, something I can tell. I can tell that it's... Because I'm recording it through 3 mics. Yours, this one, and that one. And that's kind of like the backup. And it's counting.
Well, you see these little lines here.
Yeah. So
under guest mic.
The only thing it's not showing is the sound waves here.
Yeah.
But it's showing it there. This is a brand new for me using this system. So I just have to hope.
You brought me down here on a Sunday for some kind of experimental. Just kidding. So, anyway, while you're farting around with that, I'll continue. Yeah. And all this is simple. When I told them how many days I had worked in Halton, they apologized to me.
Let's see. Here we go. They apologized
and said, "You know what, Mr. Gifford, we're sorry. Because you work so many supply days, you're in the wrong salary category ranking,
and
you should have been making more money. So here I am for 3.5 months sitting there wondering that, the police were going to come and arrest me because I was making...
So this is amazing.
It was great news. You're going to get a retro check. I'm like, retro check. And that's when I realized that it's not work if you're doing what you love. It doesn't seem like work. It doesn't feel like work. It just seems natural, and you don't look at it and wake up and do a grind. Yeah. So when people ask, what do you want to do? Not me, but when I ask kids now, like, do what makes you happy.
Yes.
Because then it's not work.
Yeah.
Right. I watch some students now. I have one of my former students just recently from Lakeshore Catholic. He's redoing a basement bedroom for in my house. Again,
that's awesome.
But.
See, like
making more money than I am right now, and he's 3 years out of high school, and he's got his own construction company.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Like, it's out of this world, and he loves it. So yeah, it doesn't matter about the hours and things like that, but it's as long as you're passionate about it. Could you imagine? This is funny. I remember I asked my people ask you, like, what's your dream job, and some people are like, well, I have it. I'd like to be the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, but that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'd like to be an Olympic high jumper, but that won't happen. Right? But when they ask you about your dream job, the things you want to do, I'll never forget one time what my wife said when she said she thought about it. She gave it some thought, not just like I'm being an astronaut. Just like she gave it some thought, and she said, I remember it was something like this. I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to get it wrong, but she said, I'd like to be in a room, by myself, and I could have a window so I could see outside. I could listen to Howard Stern, in the morning and then on a loop. And people would bring me like some tax returns where there's a mistake in there. And I would sit in there again by myself, and I would just go and I would find the errors in the tax returns.
Okay.
And that would be, and if I could get compensated, like, whatever, $200,000, whatever, that would be great. But I'd love to go through and kind of fix those errors. And I thought to myself, she just described hell. Like, that is like the devil
pointing a
pitchfork at me, sticking me into a room, finding mistakes on a tax return.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have a root canal. Like, I'd rather have, somebody pull my fingernails out with pliers. Like, I would never do that. And that would be your dream job.
Wow.
Short of what she's doing, which is an elementary teacher. But the point is, like, that would be, and that would never enter my head. That would equate to happiness, right?
Not for me either.
See, the thing too is I don't want to be with anybody. I want to be alone. I want to work by myself, and that's that introvert side. And I'm clearly not there. Like, I'm clearly on the extrovert side. Yeah. So are you. Yeah. You get energized by those interactions. So that's why you always had to. I think people have to, like, really look at what makes them happy and what they want to do. Because if you put somebody in a position where they're doing something that doesn't work with their brain style or doesn't work with the hemisphere that they usually deal with, and they're doing something that really frustrates them, then it's a recipe for disaster. Like, they're going to leave. They're not going to be happy. Like, you have to get in a position where like, wow, I like this. This is fun. Then it doesn't seem like work.
Exactly. I don't know how people find that or not, and I find that with your job because you're helping kids to kind of start that path of trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on other podcasts or not, it doesn't matter, but I still have friends trying to find their way at 36. Still not sure. And you know how I have the scholarship at Lakeshore. Yeah. Just gave it out, and actually this year the winner, the first time I met her, was on stage. And as I was walking off with her, explaining to her how the scholarship worked, I said something like, what do you want to do? And she had no idea. I'm like, smart girl. Remember I handed out the award wrong because they called her name and I went to give it to her and she was still getting awards mentioned that she won. Like, it's hard. At that age, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
I don't know how kids now do. Like, it's so, because you have limited life experience, right? You don't know. Like, you want to go and experience a bunch of things, right?
Exactly. Like, so you try to point them down to happiness. Try to find. Yeah. Are you more pointing them towards the post-education? Are you like, because I see some of them doing the victory lap. Some of them are going right into work. It seemed like most of them, if I had to break down from what I watched, the biggest majority are going into university and then college, and then kind of the smallest amount is victory lap or right into work. That's almost what it seemed like.
I think the numbers are more closer than you think.
Really?
Yeah, like when you look at the percentages.
Yeah, I don't know. Just from the
Yeah. I think the victory lap's important because there's kids who don't know what they want to do. And then you have some kids who just got to graduation.
Yeah.
So they literally can't use their 57% average. God bless, they passed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to get you into anywhere. So they realized as they were busy, partying or having a social life or doing those things that, oh my God, I just got by the skin of my teeth. But no college, university is going to look at me as far as grades go. So I have to come back and upgrade, which is what a lot of kids do. And there's other kids that are, who just come back because they don't know.
Yeah.
They could have got into something, but they don't know.
I had no idea.
No.
Like with myself, I'll just kind of, I don't know if we ever talked about this. While I was going to high school, first few years, I was doing terrible in school. We went over my report card. It was bad.
Yeah, when you're OSR too, which was great. Some great fashion sense you had there too. You were a pioneer back then.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, you were. Oh my God, you had an acid wash jean jacket on with the sleeves cut off. Who cuts off the sleeves of a jean jacket? It's sacrilege, but you did it.
I don't know. It's hilarious.
You're a salmon, buddy. You're swimming against the stream, Joe.
Sounds about right. But first few years, I was not into school at all, just having a good time. And then somewhere along the line, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to college. And I was thinking of becoming a cop for a while. I thought that would be kind of cool. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then at some point, I remember my parents were like, no, you're going to university. And they had that, they had some, I don't remember how much, but some money saved up that if I went to university, I got more money from the government than if I don't know. I don't think I got it if I went to college. I think they got matched dollar for dollar or something if I went to university. So they're like, you're going to university. So later in high school, I had to start figuring out to get my marks up.
Well, you had a plan. You had some plans. I was teaching you in grade 13. You remember?
Yeah,
you had some plan. You were a master of the group work. You picked some kids to do group work with that were geniuses.
Yeah, Joanna was great.
Yeah, no, they're not just Joanna, but there were other kids in that class, and you would sit there and be like, all of a sudden, oh look, there's Gene Wash Joe who showed up and was working on a project, and of course we all got 95. Hey, buddy, smart work sometimes beats hard work. I'm all a big fan of hard work, but sometimes you can, if there's an easier way to do it and get the same result, you contributed too. So there's that maturity aspect too. Like you just kind of said, hey, my parents want this. And I think my only, difference now when I look at it now as an administrator is, I have the conversation we just talked about is a conversation that I have with kids that they might not have with their parents.
Right.
And I'm just asking them, well, what do you want to do, or what makes you happy? Now, forget about all the other pressures that people are putting on you.
Exactly.
Like, or where do you see yourself? And if they say they don't know, then you might steer them toward coming back for grade 12 or entering something in the general arts, and then all of a sudden they're taking whatever six or seven different classes, and one of them hits them. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not just, I like this subject in school, but I knew this, regardless of what I was going to do in life. It was not going to involve math and science.
Right.
Like we just never got along. It was just that relationship that never, and some people, oh no, you do well in math. I'm like, not like I do, but I don't. At some point in time, I have to get off my brain just kind of, I got to check out.
Yeah, I feel it.
I was, oh, Sudoku. Here, let's do a hard Sudoku. No.
Right.
Like, no, I do the easy Sudoku, and then even then, it's a push, right?
Right.
Like crossword puzzles, right? If I can't fill it in, like I'm just... No, the math part of it too, you can figure out the general stuff, but once you start getting into some of the,
no, thank you.
It's not all day sitting around doing numbers. Like, no, that's not it. Mine had to be a little bit more interactive and working with people and that type of thing. So that was it. But some people, like I described my wife there, she could do either. She could teach, or she could haul off in an office somewhere and hole up and fix tax returns. I couldn't do it, right?
Never.
I remember my grandfather said to me too, and he broke it down in a more simple factor because he was a very successful, immigrant, and he said to me, he goes, you can use your brain or you can use your back. Like, use your brain, because I use my back.
Yeah.
He was a mechanic, and he had a gas station that he owned, and he worked very hard. And very long hours, but he was successful, very successful.
Right.
But he just said, you can use your brain.
That's one of the lines too. I remember from you: work smart, not hard.
Yeah.
And that was one that my dad used to tell me too. So it was pretty cool getting that advice along the way too. I think the combination of the two is great.
Yeah, I think if you have a good work ethic and then you're smart about it.
It can kill it.
Look what you could do, right? Like, you could do anything. And that's what you try to tell kids too now. And there's so many. See, the thing too is everybody looks at things with their lens, right? And it's kind of hard to, you try to talk to some parents now, where I want my daughter to go to university, or I want my son to go to university, but they know what they want to do, and it's a college program,
right?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You get kids who graduate from university with their philosophy degree, right? Which is,
what are you going to do?
And then you go back to college to actually get some practical hands-on experience. Or my son
100%
graduated with a dual diploma. Like he has a degree from, the University of Guelph and a diploma from Humber College. So you graduate with both.
That's
so, and that's a way a lot of schools are going now too, which is you can get practical experience and you
that's
can get
amazing
theoretical stuff. So they're just kind of catering that. A lot of schools are doing that now. They're partnering up with a university and a college together, and that works out well. But again, you just have to go back with what makes it work for you, And I think it starts. I always used to do this when I was teaching. I think it goes back to what side of the brain you work out of, And because when you live in that hemisphere, you like to do stuff that caters to that hemisphere. So if you don't know what it is, right? I always used to use this analogy. You just have to look at your bedroom, and here it is. It's either neat all the time, and you like keeping things neat. It's usually neat. You don't know if you have carpet or hardwood because it's messy,
right?
But you know where everything is,
right?
Or the third person, which is, it's neat on Sunday when I clean, and every day it gets progressively worse until I get disgusted with my own filth, and then I have to clean it again,
right?
And that's a balance brain, right? That's someone who can flip-flop back and forth, right? I don't know where you are, but I used to, when I was younger, I used to be balanced. I used to make a list, which is a very left brain thing to do.
Right.
I make a list of 20 things I had to do, but I wouldn't do anything on the list. Right? Like I get sidetracked. Right?
That's hilarious.
You know what I mean? So I used to put down like school, class, take notes, study, start essay, home, and then I worked at the bar on campus and go to work. Well, I went out the night before, so I slept in. So I didn't go to class. So I didn't get to do my notes. I didn't get to rewrite it. So I just went down and said, I guess I'll go to work, right? I'll go work at the bar, right? So I ended up getting nothing done. So then I changed my list because I'm not going to change anything if I don't change, right? So I just, I used to put on top of my list, up, ready, brush teeth,
right,
get dressed,
right.
So if I made it to school, I could check off 5 things on it. Yes, I'm going to wake up regardless. I'm killing it. And that's, I'm crushing things over here. Look at all this crap I got done. All I did was get my butt to school, which is not a big accomplishment, but I got to check off 4 things. And then I'm like, I got this list half done. And now I got to finish it. And it's funny, but I to this day, I still do that list.
Daily?
Every day. Full page every day of the things I have to do.
So
and if I can't get something done, I circle it and I go to the next page and I put up, and I have to do that then.
So on a daily basis, how much of that list do you tend to complete?
About 90%.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't put up anymore because I get up.
I'm
a grown-ass man now. Like, I don't have to talk myself and fool myself into things. Kids do stupid things like that all the time, right? Yeah, up, brush teeth. Yeah, right? They set their alarm like a half an hour earlier, right? So they'll get up on time, but they don't, right? Your alarm goes off and you're like, that's not the real time. And you hit snooze 2 more times, right? And you go back. So they don't really change their habits, but they do that kind of stuff. They focus in on that, right? It was funny, we were talking about time when I was trying to, as I get to my age now, I'm looking at, I want to be in the peak of health. I say this, it's kind of funny, but
it's good.
In the peak of health, time I retire, I want to be
that's good.
55 and completely fit and leaned out and sick of wearing extra large clothing, and you know what I mean. Like I want to get into a large. Like I don't.
Nice.
Who are these kids, Joe, at Mex at these clothing places with the 15.5 neck? Like who is that? I haven't had 15.5 neck since I was in the 4th grade.
Yeah, no doubt.
Seriously,
no
15.5. Who wears that? Who wears a medium? Like, see, I'm not
children.
I'm not giant. It's not my 600-pound life here. Like I'm living life here. But who's got a 14 neck? Who?
I have no idea.
In the men's section.
No.
No,
I don't know.
I call balderdash on that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, right?
No,
so
that's
it's
kid
not that I'm
sizes.
using that as a goal shirt, but my God in heaven, right?
Yeah.
So
I like that, though.
But then I used to think about, like carving out that time to get into shape or to eat properly, right? Because people always default to say, "Oh, I can't. I'm too busy."
Yeah.
And I say it too. I'm the most guilty one for it. I'm so busy. I don't have the. I come home from work and all I want to do sometimes is sit down,
chill,
and unplug.
Right.
As much as I'm an extrovert at work,
right?
When I come home, you know what, Joe? I don't think this glass is dirty. I think you got a little. See, you got one too.
What is that?
It's the water line, buddy.
Yeah.
You've chlorinated your water here.
Okay.
No, you've that's it. It's super clean, is what you got.
We're good.
Yeah. So I think what happens is people talk themselves into the BS between their ears. You know, I talk about real estate. That's 6 inches between your ears. That's 6
There's
inches.
time. There's time. I know. I feel it too. I'm slacking on it too. I know the time's there, but it's using that time.
You know what So Sunday, right? Like I think most anybody in education will feel this. I think anybody who works, like your standard Monday to Friday, Sunday night, you start to get the blues. You know what I mean? You get
time to go back.
Well, it's not even a school thing because I love my job. It's like it's just natural. I got to go to work. Everybody's happy now. It's a long weekend, right? Mm-hmm. Tomorrow. Don't have to work, right? Everybody's like, it's great, right? So Sunday turns into Saturday,
right?
You imagine every day was like Saturday. It would be great,
yeah.
Right? So people start to like you play this game. Well, I'll have time, and Sunday I used to get the Bills game was on, which I totally involved in all the time, way more than normal people, and then after the game I watch the game again and then look at film and then back I was writing articles and stuff like that about the Bills and doing stuff, which was fun.
I didn't even know you did that.
Yeah, I did that for a couple of years at billsdraft.com, which is no longer there. But anyway, it was something probably retirement I'll have to do. But then Sunday would come, and then you start, I don't know, maybe 7 o'clock. The late game was on, and you're like, I gotta get my clothes ready. I gotta steam them. I gotta do all this stuff. And so
yeah, you go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I don't know if I'm gonna figure out this audio thing or not.
All right, let's see.
Yeah. Gift's gonna take a quick break. I am really hoping that audio is working. These things are always scary when making contents. I can see that the webcam is recording audio. I can see it. I can see that GarageBand is picking up the microphones. I can see the clock is running, but I cannot see on the recorded lines that audio is recording. And this is a little bit scary because there's no way to recreate this. Could have Gift back again, but it would be a completely different conversation. I love having him here. If it didn't work, I'm sure he would come back. But these things are scary. We've had things like this happen before. Technical difficulties happen. Every time I'm doing stuff trying to make it better and avoid production problems like this, just trying to talk to fill the time.
I was going to say it, so I was going to the bathroom there. Look at you. Ad-libbing like crazy.
Just try to keep it going. This, I'll continue on that, and then with this, with the content creation, I've had a lot of technical difficulties. This is something that I didn't take film studies in school at all.
Well, I mean, look at, you got these little panels here on the back that this is
sound,
for sound. Look
sound
at who put that up? You?
Hafsa's younger
no.
brother helped me. No.
Just say no.
Well, there's a team effort, but
look at these things. Look at all this
lights.
stuff. This is high tech here, buddy. Look
that one of the things I try to do is every week I try to make an improvement, and the blip that I had last week was I had Oddbird owners come on, and they showed up. I wasn't quite set up, and you probably haven't listened to it yet, but this microphone was not working for the whole podcast, and that sucks. Like, I didn't even know, because when I checked everything, it seemed to be working for
just
some
like
reason.
Now.
Just like now. And I was just saying, like, I can tell that the mic is working on there. Right. I'm really confident about that. And I can tell that it's picking us up. Yeah. I can tell the time is running, but it's not showing the different levels. So I just
we're just going to have to wing it.
What's that?
We're just going to have to hope.
Yeah, we can. And if
a little faith here, Joe.
Yeah,
it's working.
I hope so. If not, I was just, one of the things I said was I hope you come back, but who knows the conversation where it would go.
Yeah. Well, it could be something completely different.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
I
get the blues. Everybody does. Go back to work. And then I find this is a perfect time to go work out. This should be the time where I go in and I start. I can do like in the evening before bed or first thing in the morning. Right. A lot of people say that. I'm going to get up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm going to go work out. And then, the alarm goes off at 5:30 and you're like, I'll work out at night. Yeah. And I found, and I was ready to start that. And then this stupid TV show came on.
Oh, no.
Called The Curse of Oak Island. Have you watched this show, Joe? Tell me you've seen a show. I've
had people talk about it, and I've seen maybe an episode.
Okay.
I haven't.
Do yourself a favor.
And I was just out by it recently, too, because it's out east, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was around there. That's when...
Coast of Nova Scotia. There.
Yeah, somebody brought it up.
Okay, do yourself a favor. Never watch that show. Never.
No.
Like, swear to me right now. Pinky swear me you'll never watch it.
Well, I kind of want to watch it. I don't want to.
You don't. That's what I'm saying. Don't watch it.
But I want to watch it now.
No, you don't.
Why don't I want to watch it?
And I can't stop watching it. I've never been addicted to anything in my life. This show...
It's got you.
It's got me. And I hate the fact...
There's no way I'm going to pinky swear you. I got to see
No, you have to... But I'm going to tell you something. If this isn't a spoiler, but it is.
That's fine.
They're 6 years into looking for stuff on Oak Island. So the legend of Oak Island is, all these Templar knights, the church all of a sudden vilified them and they had to run for their lives. So they all got on these boats with their, the Knights Templar treasure and they came over to Oak Island and buried things somewhere in Oak Island. Artwork, gold, who knows, the Holy Grail, all kinds of nonsense. Anyway, I'm instantly intrigued.
Right.
Anything like that kind of stuff in history as a history buff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this stuff. Joe, there's 6 seasons, maybe 6 seasons into this thing. They haven't found a damn thing.
Nothing?
Oh my God. They found an iron cross. They found wood. They found planks. They found a coin. They found, enough trinkets that would fit in this cup. Okay?
They're spending a lot of money looking for
millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. They've got people coming in there with ultrasound, with radar, ground penetrating radar. They're digging holes. They're boring down 180 feet into the ground, 160 feet into the ground. They're looking for something. They found a piece of bone, human bone. What's a human bone? A piece of human bone doing 160 feet under the ground. How come we're getting this piece of parchment? How come there's this coin under there? How did it get there? Look, I don't know. But here's all I know. As I've started to think of I'm trying to think of this with a critical eye because I'm in right now. It's like a bad movie.
You're
stuck. You can't stop watching a bad movie. Did you ever just sit there in the middle of a movie and just get up and walk out?
Yeah,
you have.
Yeah,
once.
You don't.
I gotta finish it.
Pitch Black. I walked out on.
Vin Diesel, Pitch Black.
Yeah, we were in high school. I think we were really wasted when we watched it.
Oh, okay, well that could have been it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Those stupid creatures there.
I don't even remember.
They were like these giant pterodactyls that were chasing them. It was crazy. Only Vin Diesel could see them, right? It's so ridiculous. Anyway, but I finished that movie, Joe, because I have to finish it. So right. I'm all in on The Curse of Oak Island. They've got this announcer on this show.
Is he good?
Yes. I got to give him props. They set this up. Like the most ridiculous. They're digging somewhere, and there's this place called Smith's Cove and all this other stuff. And then they'll find something. Joe, it's the most ridiculous. They'll find a piece of metal shaped. It's like a steak. And the guy will be like, a piece of metal shaped like a steak found in Smith's Cove. Could this be a Templar crossbow? And then there's this music, and I'm like, it could be. No, it's not. It's a piece of metal. It's nothing. Okay, it's nothing. Somebody dropped it off a fishing boat, probably. Like nobody knows what it is, right? But everything can lead you. And the way they've produced the show has just got you.
It's got you in.
It's got me in. So at 10 o'clock when I'm ready to go to bed on a Sunday, I'm like fighting to stay awake because I think they're going to find something. They don't find anything, Joe. They find nothing down there.
Have you seen them all?
Yes.
So did you start when it first came out? Or?
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Like I can't, because it's always next year. They're going to find another thing. At the end of the year, there's some cliffhanger where they find like some red ruby or something. Where does this ruby come from? I don't know where the ruby came from. Maybe somewhere, but somebody. And here's the thing. They can't get down there with all the modern equipment we have now.
Right. So
How the hell these guys come over there in the 1500s with some shovels?
Right.
180 feet down with a pick?
Right.
And it's still there? Everything's collapsed with
So is
water.
there nothing there?
I don't know what there. I want to hope there's something there, Joe.
Are they looking in the wrong spot?
I don't know. We don't know, Joe. It's the same thing like the Civil War gold. You watch this one, it's the same damn announcer.
No.
Oh my God, they're looking for Civil War gold. That the South was way up north, during the thing, and they were going to, the gold got stolen and it got dropped into Lake Michigan, and they're diving and they're looking for it. I think the thing is, I want them to find this stuff.
Right.
I just want to see it. But I get nothing in return. And it's an hour in, right? It's an hour in. So I've changed my television habits, right? Even though I have to watch these shows now. There's another one. The Curse of the Philippine Gold or something like that. The Japanese army, when they were about to get booted out of the Philippines, took a bunch of gold, put it in a mountainside. And and it's the same announcer for all three.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. A hidden cave in a mountain in the Philippines. Could this be the spot where... And I'm sitting there going, it could be. I think they're going to find something. And there's nothing. It's a dead end. That's nothing. It's not concrete. It's rock. Oh, okay. This could be a man-made structure. Hunting Hitler. That's another one that got me.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
That's another great show. And it's probably all BS.
Right.
But I can't... It's like...
The hook is good.
Television... heroin. Like I can't. I never did heroin, so I don't even know what that means. But I just say, I can't stop watching it. Is he there? No, he's not. I don't think so.
But by now he's got to be dead. By now.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, saying there's a whole whack of Nazis that got out of Germany and got on U-boats and got over to Argentina and made their way into South America. That's true. Right. That's been documented. But now they're trying to find out if did he make it out. Right. But anyway, but the premise, I guess, as a history major, whether it's the Civil War, whether it's Oak Island, whether it's the World War II.
See this.
I'm fascinated by it.
This is something we could talk about another time or not. But I'll tell you, with me, I was never really drawn to history stuff. No. I always found it interesting, but I never liked reading about it. Would bore me. But like you, I don't know. We get in history because we could talk for a million hours. Mm-hmm. I actually find history super interesting, but I never had a way to consume it that interested me in school. Now, different things will catch my attention. Last night, I was just talking to my buddy about the independence of America, and I don't even know how until he enlightened me, because I've never really put in any effort into it. And last night I was watching a little bit of history stuff, or not, Chernobyl.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen Chernobyl?
I'm watching the thing right now. I didn't even... Did you see this series?
Out of this world.
Last night I think I fell asleep during the third one. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
Like my history knowledge is so bad that I need to buff up on it a little bit, because I think it would help me with a lot of things. But
that's another interesting. That whole thing that's a great show. Finish that. Go back and watch that third episode. There's only 5 episodes in the series. Yeah. I won't spoil it for you. Yeah. And it's getting taken from an American lens, right?
Right.
But the
and what's wild about this one too is, you remember Stevie Sweckovic?
Yeah.
Jeff's cousin. He works at the Pickering power plant.
Okay.
So just the night before I watched it, he didn't even spark it. Just talking to him about his job and what it's like working at a nuke plant. Like, that's wild.
I imagine.
Like, I don't even know. I can't fathom how any of that works, what it looks like in there or not. He tells me his kind of day-to-day and how there's a lot of processes to do anything. Like, it takes a long time to do stuff in there because there's so much safety, right? But then to see Chernobyl, where they had this fire there, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild. I wish I did. Like, I have to buff up on some history stuff. At some point, it doesn't have to be now. I need some Cole's notes on a bunch of shit, because I'm so lost.
It happened, I think, in 86. I think it was when it happened.
So 86, 88 or something.
Yeah, I think it was
86. Yeah, I think you're
86. Right. But the thing was, that was in the height of the Cold War. So what happened there is, like, you didn't get a straight answer out of Russia and vice versa, basically. So,
right.
So as this happened, and you're probably getting that in the show, but as it happened, I mean, they didn't even know the extent of what was going on. Like, the reactor blew.
Right.
The whole reactor. There's pieces of graphite outside. So when, what happened? So there's a fire. They send the fire department up there to put it out. And they're like, oh, the air tastes like metal. And these guys are liquefied in like 4 days because the radiation was like through the roof, right? And so
That's insane. And I didn't even know this happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what year were you born?
83, but
okay,
still. Somewhere along the line, should have picked this up.
But, I mean, even now, like, this one of those places that, can you believe that like, tourists go there now, like, but you can only stay there for, like, half an hour. Like, they're talking, like, 240 years before the radiation is acceptable.
Right.
Like, it was really...
Right.
And what you're getting in that show is, they had a tunnel under Chernobyl and put this cooling system in so it didn't get into the water, and it didn't, like, it's still, they've got this big sarcophagus over top of it. Like, it's still a massive nuclear disaster. Like, they still have, like, it'll never go away. It's one of those things.
Yeah, forever. Like 10,000 years or whatever.
It's creepy in the show there, too. And the one guy says, he's like, you might have got there by episode 3, but the one guy says, he's like, well, what about us? Like, how are we going to do? And he's like,
just seen that part.
Yeah,
we'll
be dead in 5 years.
5 years,
but they got to finish the job, right? So they're like, well, we're halfway into the forest anyway. We got to run out, so I mean, it doesn't matter now. So like, you want to turn around and go back and not go. You might as well sit there and finish the job. So
exactly.
It's really it's fascinating. I like those miniseries, those kind of TV shows where. It's a drama, but it's based on a lot of real life events. So those things are good. I just finished season 2 of a show called Dark.
No,
it's on Netflix. The first season was great. The second
season. What's that about?
I wish I could tell you. A kid goes missing in a cave, and then they can't find him, and then they look around, and it's by a nuclear power plant. Funny that I should mention that. And there's some time travel stuff going on here. And now it's like,
it's out there.
There's the person. There's there's a kid named Joe in the show. There's the Joe of 1986, the Joe of 2020, and the Joe of 1961. Like every 33 years, and so they're traveling back and forth in time. And I can't keep track of the characters. I'm fascinated by it, but I get confused. I gotta watch it all again just to see if I can get it.
Yeah. No, I haven't done that one.
That kind of stuff. So all those.
Did you do Game of Thrones?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
I didn't. Robin watches it. Good? You liked it?
I loved Game of Thrones. I really did. Everybody has different, theories about the ending. Yeah, I wasn't overly pleased with how a series ended. I don't think many shows really give us that closure.
It's hard, eh?
I think Breaking Bad probably for me was the only show that really kind of, for me,
closed it out.
Tied up all the loose ends so nicely with a bow, and I think it ended how most people wanted it to end.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. I watched that one. I thought the ending was good.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. I heard with Game of Thrones, though, the writers were like, they pounded it out because they were moving on to something else or something.
Yeah, I think most people think that the last couple episodes were a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
When they spent so much time developing all these characters and plots and themes and developing this story over 8 years. And I was late to the game. I don't think I started Game of Thrones till it was like in 3rd season.
Yeah.
Then we binged it up. And then
see, Robin's always watching it. Not always. She'll have it on and I'll be working and catching some stuff, and it seems like a pretty cool show. Crazy stuff happening. But when I tried to watch it, I couldn't get through the first episode.
You know what? That's it's funny you should say that, because sometimes you need 2 or 3 to get into a show.
Yeah.
That you need. And I find with Game of Thrones, that was I don't know who the hell everybody was. I needed if you buy the DVDs, if anyone even does that anymore,
right.
You buy the DVDs, you can kind of it's almost like a flow chart of the families, and you're like, oh, these guys are over here, and these guys, you're like, where did this guy come from? And
right.
all of a sudden they've got an army. You're like, who are these people? But so it was hard to kind of keep track until it kind of worked its way out. So sometimes if it doesn't get you right away, it's like most things, right? Like if you don't get the hook in there quick.
Yeah.
You'll lose it.
I'm sure I could get into it. I don't know, but didn't happen.
Who's got time?
Yeah.
I could give up all those stupid Civil War things and I'd be fine. All these conspiracy theory things I get hooked into. You ever play 10 Degrees of YouTube? It's my favorite thing now.
No,
I made it up. It's just a game.
I love
it. So what you do is, you Google something in YouTube, right? And then, whatever. They say something you're interested in. Bigfoot.
Right.
Okay? Say you Google Bigfoot.
Right.
You YouTube Bigfoot.
Right.
And 10 Degrees, right? So you go to Bigfoot, first video. Click on that video. Go down to the videos that are underneath. Go to the second video, right? then you hit on that video, and then you go down to the third video, and you click on that video, and you get down to the 10th video of the 10th thing, and you're in a whole different world.
Completely different.
It's not about Bigfoot. No, it's not. You started with Bigfoot, but 10 down, you're looking at the alien autopsy. Like you're somewhere else, right? I don't know where you are. It's the dark arts. You're somewhere.
You consume some of these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, sadly, I think
there's
there's
nothing sad about that.
No, I think with regards to that curiosity that brings me to Oak Island or brings me to Civil War gold or any of these other things, there's these unanswered questions that you look at with certain conspiracy theories. You can there's some people like Joe Rogan's podcast is great because he addresses all that stuff.
Does he?
Oh, he's got experts on there about Bigfoot. He's got experts on aliens. He's got one guy worked for whoever that he was on a craft in Area 51 and this, that. So you go and you look at all that stuff and watch a podcast. I'm fascinated by it because it's either there's no news about it or it's being suppressed or this is all nonsense, right? Like it's either one or the other. So it's kind of interesting to see.
I think I have limited conspiracy theory wormholing. I have some, but
what is the one that you
the first one that comes to mind the first one that I ever seen or anything 9/11.
Yeah,
that's that one, like Loose Change. I remember watching that. That came up, and what I like about conspiracy theories is it helps you broaden your thinking because what we get told in the media is whatever we're being told and not necessarily everything.
Mm-hmm.
But so broadening, but I don't know. There's tons of conspiracy theories on everything. And
it's amazing.
What
yeah, like there's a ton.
What's like a most recent one or something?
Well, I mean, there was a big thing for a while on chemtrails,
right?
Which was a big thing.
I remember
planes are either seeding clouds to make it rain, or they actually are putting something else in there to keep people under.
What are they?
They're just, again, there's some type of chemical that is being released by planes as they're going on cross flights to, again.
So it's part of the plane.
That's part of the plane. Like, they think there's something else. They think there's
I remember
there's something bigger out there. You know who's a huge conspiracy theorist guy was? I remember Jesse the Body Ventura. He was a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was a governor of Minnesota, I think.
Right.
And
big conspiracy theorist.
Oh my God! He doesn't even live in the States anymore. He lives somewhere on the Baja Peninsula in Mexico.
Because he was too crazy.
Everybody's out after him. That Lyme's disease is governments injected ticks with these things as some form of biological warfare. Like crazy,
right?
Crazy. I'm not that far down the rabbit hole. Like I'm not even anywhere near that. But I mean, you just watch all that stuff, like the Kennedy assassination, anything that's happened in history where they're like. This is all part of a bigger conspiracy, that Big Brother, the government is up and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and they knew about this stuff and the declassified documents, and I guess it's probably the history guy in me that just gets intrigued by that to see if there's something, else that happened as opposed to
Area 51.
Yeah.
Right? This is a place in America. Is this a conspiracy theory?
I don't think it's a conspiracy. I mean, it exists. Yeah,
and then aliens and stuff. Maybe that's conspiracy theory that they're holding on to over there.
I think a lot of people hold on to that. That came out at the height of the Cold War, right? Like one of the best movies you can ever watch if you want to talk about the Cold War was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Mm-hmm. You ever watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Never.
So basically, you fall asleep. This is a perfect analogy. You fall asleep. There's this giant pea pod under your bed. And when you sleep, this pod grows into a complete perfect replica of Joe Gonzalez. And while you sleep, this thing comes to life, and the Joe that you know is gone. And it looks just like you, Joe. And talks like you and sounds like you. But it's not you.
Right?
It's an alien. Right?
Interesting
theory.
Yeah.
So, don't sleep. So most people that fall asleep as the aliens are going around, which looks just like you and me, right?
What are they doing?
They're putting these pods under your bed, and they're kind of slowly taking over the world, but they're doing it subtly, not like coming down like Independence Day and kind of shooting the hell out of everybody. They're slowly, underhandedly coming in and taking over the world, right?
Right.
Which is great. So there's a few people who are like, something's wrong with my husband, something's wrong with this, and they're like, oh, you can't fall asleep. And they kind of figure it out.
Wow.
And then when they finally are getting away, and this is again, you got to go back when it came out. It was the early 50s, right? And they go back and they stop the military. They stop the army. Oh my God, don't go into this town. The aliens have taken over. Da, da, da. And then one guy jumps into the back and he opens it up and it's just full of pea pods. So even it's got the military. But listen, it was about the Cold War. It was about the fear of the spread of communism. And people, what happens? This will happen if you're asleep. If you're not paying attention, if you fall asleep while you're sleeping, it's going to be someone that looks like you, looks like us, but they're going to think differently,
right?
And they're going to have these, communist beliefs. So it was all part of the whole Cold War genre. In history, if you're teaching the Cold War, you got to show the original invasion of the body snatchers. It's not about aliens.
I got to see this.
Yeah, it's not a great movie.
No,
but when you get the history behind it,
right,
and you understand that it's really about something else, it's really about something deeper, and that there were people paranoid about what was going on in the world when they don't know.
Right.
Excuse me. People would start to look out on that stuff.
So with history stuff, from what I remember in class, tendency to repeat itself, right? Yeah. Different cycles and things like this, right? Governments, politics, these things. Is that a tendency?
Well, that's a famous quote, right? If you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it, right?
Right.
That's a famous line that people would say about history is that,
right,
you make the same mistakes over and over. Like if you don't learn from some of the things that you were doing. I just, it's funny because you talked about history and how it never kind of came alive for you in the classroom. But when I think about how I would teach history now, if I were back in the classroom,
I would love it.
Look at the technology that you have that you could use. Wow. Like I talked to you about Google Cardboard, which is just the coolest thing ever, which you could, even with kids that they're using their own phones to examine places in the world and answer questions and interactive stuff, right? I mean, you have such a better opportunity to do things now. Technology is helped in that way, but you'd be fascinated by it. But back then it was, and again, and I mean this in the most respectful way, Canada doesn't have a very violent history. I mean, I know there's some purists out there that say there were some battles and stuff, but Canadian grade 10 history course will take you from Confederation to the atomic bomb. Right? Like it literally will span over 100 years. They'll get you in there. They'll get it all in a course in a semester. Some of the highlights, and there's the 2 world wars and things like that. Whereas American history, a much more violent history, you can spend a year on the Civil War.
Yeah,
you spend a year on a battle of the Civil War. Like and everything that happened. But
is your history? So you studied history in school, part of it?
Yeah, I did political science and history. Yeah.
So do you know more North American world?
Yeah, more North American. I would think would be a Canadian American perspective more so than like a.
Do you still consume history stuff? Not so much. What?
Like on those stupid shows, yeah. Now, I mean, I like to say I'm always a history buff. I'm always reading stuff that would be, historical or looking at things. I love politics and the news and things like that. Which so that type of thing. But yeah, nowadays it seems, I get focused on that other history. We're talking about those
Oak
Island history. I'm just fascinated by it. It's caused me to go and read up on Oak Island and read up about all the things they've done, or read up about Civil War gold, even though and then you'll have other people, and it's fun when you look when you and I don't engage in discussion about it with people in the sense that, and I'm not going to get into it because I don't know the answers, but I like hearing people's. Like some people just want to believe it so bad that it's that this is real or this has happened, and they defend it, and then other people are like, "You guys are idiots!" Like this, they're selling a TV show. That, right?
Here's a conspiracy theory thing that I've seen somewhere along the line recently: the flat worlders.
Yeah.
There's a huge group of people that are all about this.
Yeah, or I think that ties in somewhat to what's going on in Antarctica.
What's this?
Oh, that's the big thing that in Antarctica when they were down there, there's some kind of entrance to this a whole other
world
under
really
the surface world, aliens, all this other kind of stuff. The technology. I think there's one of the astronauts. I want to say John Glenn. It might not have been him, and he's in an interview and they said on YouTube, and he's in an interview. I mean, it's on YouTube now, but you can watch it. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are all worried about the Cold War and everything else. You really need to be worried about what's going on in Antarctica." And he was completely serious.
Right.
And Senator John Kerry from the United States went down there, and he was on some kind of expedition. But so then of course the conspiracy theorists, like, if you don't have an answer to something or something weird happens, it's like a rumor. Speculation runs wild. All of a sudden, there's all this other stuff.
So what did he mean by it?
Yeah, good question. What did he mean, right? If you look at air photographs, there's like pyramids that they have in Egypt, and they're there, and they're there in Antarctica too, and
in Antarctica, there's pyramids
down the South Pole, right?
There's pyramids there. Apparently,
allegedly, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
About,
that's all part of the flat Earth thing that they're trying to keep everybody away from the South Pole.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, but I don't even.
What about this one? Did they go to the moon?
Another great one too, right? Like, I want to say yes.
But we don't know.
Oh, I think they did. Yeah, no, come on. I know that's pretty elaborate conspiracy.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know, because I've heard people talk about like all this stuff, like the flag flapping, and I don't even the shadows.
Same with I think it's called the Patterson video with Bigfoot, right? There's the one, right? There's a great video. I think it's called the Patterson footage, where there's this 8-foot
thing walking
Sasquatch walking across and turning, and they've taken this footage and they have broken it down, Joe, step by step, angle by angle, everything. And then you look at the person who took the footage, who went there to go film a movie about a Sasquatch, and then lo and behold, came across one.
Right.
And then there you got the guy. He's passed away subsequently. He was like, "Yeah, that was me." That was me. I was in the suit. We got the suit. It was me. And then the purists are like,
don't believe it.
There's no way an ape's foot walks on that angle. Like a monkey can't go from here to here. Like the way he turned his neck. There's no, people see what they want to see, right? So, if you want to believe in it, that you're going to find whatever it is. So it's, my thing there is, well, find one of these damn things.
One of the things with the moon for me, because I'm not sure, because I haven't done huge research on it, but the thing I have a hard time with is the technology being that good back then.
Yeah.
Because I think about, I've heard, and I don't know if you even said it, like the phones now are more powerful than the computers back then.
Land on the moon with your iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think what they're talking in general technology, but I don't think there's much there. But again, that's another one that if you think your government is out there trying to cover things up, then you're going to be more of a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
I'm just fascinated by watching them and seeing the different perspectives.
Right. That's a cool thing.
It fascinates me to no end. And then then that little seed where you're like,
what is going on?
Do you think that could have happened? Like, are both sides completely right? Somebody must be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, something's got to be right. And
exactly.
So I find that stuff fascinating, like beyond fascinating.
Yeah, I like it.
But it takes you away from your.
Do you ever plan your vacations around something to do with history or something? Or when you're on vacation, do you make a point of going to somewhere historic or?
I'm gonna be honest with you. No.
No, eh?
No, not
that hasn't influenced travel.
No.
Really?
Not yet. No, because I'm not traveling alone, right? Like,
right.
Right. So if I'm with,
I'll tell you. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
Just in October on our honeymoon, we went on a river cruise through Europe, and one of the most memorable parts that I didn't even know was going to happen was when we were in Budapest, Hungary. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know this. And we're standing.
And Budapest was in Hungary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how good my geography is and stuff. We're there. And I think part of like the cruise we were on, they gave us a little bit of a tour or whatever. And we stood on the riverbank and they have the shoes there. Do you know this place?
Go ahead.
So they have the shoes. It's kind of like a little monument type thing of shoes. And they were telling us how, I think, I have bad memory too, that they lined up the Jews there and just shot them. Ugh. And they would fall. But before they would shoot them, they would take their shoes because there was a shortage on shoes. So they would shoot them, they die, they fall into the river, but they keep the shoes. So part of remembering it is the shoes there. And that was one of the most memorable things on the whole trip to me because I'm standing there right where these people, kids, toddlers, everything getting shot there.
Right.
And I'm not a history guy. And I'm like,
the impact. At
yeah.
that time, yeah.
Like even now, I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps because while I'm standing there, it was like I got shot myself. Like I couldn't imagine. And then, like, there's a lot of history out there with stuff like that. And like I said, not huge on history, but if I'm standing in a historic spot, like what a way to learn about something.
Well, like love to go and do that, but my traveling recently has been more just going to Vegas or something like that.
That's
not
sweet.
A historical thing, but someone's told me one time you got to go and see this museum when you're down in Vegas. Like there's a mob museum in Vegas,
That's
but
sick.
It's a fantastic thing that you go and when you get the history tied in with wherever you're going. I always get when I'm down there something that they're always trying to sell you something down there, so I get reluctant about things that are just people on the street corners trying to to get you to go to the Grand Canyon or to get you to go to the Hoover Dam or wherever.
Did you go to either of those?
No, not yet. No.
No?
I think in retirement that'll be my thing.
What do you plan on doing when you retire? That's a fun one.
You know what? It's funny you should ask that. Something. And I know that's so vague, but
you're not gonna just sit on the couch.
I'm not the guy that just I'll drive my wife to work for a couple of years till she retires, and take the dogs around the block, and I'll have to do something. I'm not. This is gonna sound weird, but I want to be able to do something. And here's what I mean: as much as I love what I do and I think I'm good at it, and I mean that in a humble way.
Humble brag.
I think I'm okay at what I'm doing here, and I get it. But I realize that job requires a certain set of skills, but they're not. They're just. It's just naturally what I can do. But I watch people who are able to build something or create something, or someone's going to renovate their basement, or someone's going to fix a car, or someone's going to, and I can't do any of that stuff, Joe. I'm so not handy at things. My brother-in-law lives next door to me, is very handy at stuff, and the weed whacker went the other day. I couldn't, nothing was coming out of the spool, and I'm looking at it like a monkey doing a math problem. I don't know what I have no skills in that.
I feel you.
I can clean the pool filter, and I can do that. I can put the car, I know where to put the key, the gas, and the oil in a vehicle.
These are
and
good.
After that, maybe some air in the tire.
Oh, that's a good talent.
But after that, Joe, I'm out with cars.
I'm the same.
They could lie to me. You need a Gonzalez valve. Oh, must be expensive, right? Remember when my head gasket went, right? Well, it has to be. It's the head gasket. It's the leader of the gaskets. It's
the number one.
Thousands of dollars, isn't it? Right? And it is a lot of money, right? Thermostat one time. The thermostat went on my car. I had to keep the heat on to cool the engine. Does that make sense?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just as...
So I'm driving around like a summer one time.
With the heat on?
No, with the heat on and the windows open to keep my car from overheating. And anybody who's listening here knows anything about cars knows a thermostat costs like $18 and it's like one screw. Right? And if I would have known anything, I would have just taken it to the garage or even to the wreckers.
Right.
And they just put a thermostat in this Plymouth Horizon. They would have been like, yeah, here.
Yeah.
Done. But here I am with armpit sweat down to my waist, trying to,
That's
with the heat blasting because I don't want to fix it. Because I think, oh my God, thermostat, that sounds serious. It's like a head gasket was a piece of cork. It's about $14. It's all the labor that costs $400 to get the front end of your car off. But
right.
I mean, the actual thing is, but that's that knowledge. So being able to do something like that,
you're not going to be a mechanic when you retire.
No, I can't do that. But I mean, I'd like to be able to, I think, be a little bit more handy, not to get paid for it, but to do something that I could be.
You want to broaden that skill set?
Maybe. I realize that I'm one of those guys that I don't know how to do much.
Yeah, I feel you. You knew I didn't even put this sound deadening foam up. Right. That's not my skill set.
I can paint, but that's a pain in the ass. But I'm a good painter. But I mean, so if you ever sat there and said,
like walls or like
walls, ceilings?
Art.
No, God, art.
Not
I'm
art.
a drastic person. But I mean, I'm not.
I say the same thing.
That's nothing to do with art. Never, could never. would disrespect an art teacher by trying to take their class and show what limited skills I have in the area of creativity. I can be creative with regards to, videos and things like that, and funny posts and things like that I was doing.
Are you still doing videos at the
Yeah, we do a month-end video every month.
I don't know if I've seen them.
Yeah, no, they're more content driven and less about me being a fool like I was for 4 years at Lakeshore. I've done some fun stuff, and we more information that way. But I wanted to. My wife made me a great suggestion. She said next year you should get the kids to do something silly in each of the videos, which is a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. Yeah. So I want to get them to do some silly stuff
for next year.
Yeah, for next year, because you gotta. It goes through, flows. And, there's certain things that's popular for a while. We were doing it for a long time, and then they're doing that again. Oh, that's kind of lame. With kids, you don't want to become cringeworthy, right? So you try to keep it fresh. You want to do something current, every once in a while, like not every day. You saturate them with the same stuff. Then after a while, it just loses its effectiveness, right? So you try to capitalize on what's hot or trending at the time and do something that way. So, I'm good at that stuff, but I don't know.
That's interesting to hear.
Am I gonna have to go to college for 2 years if I want to sell real estate? I heard the rules have changed.
Yeah, it's turned into a college program. I think it's only 1 year.
Is it 1 year full-time college program now?
I think you can still take it online.
Yeah. Did you do yours online?
I did mine in class. I couldn't learn a thing online.
How long? You can't, and that's a hard sell for you.
Yeah,
how long was your course when you took it?
When I took it, it was only 3 courses, and it was first one was 1 week in class. Next one was 2 weeks. The third one 3 weeks, and then
6 weeks. You were done.
Yeah, it wasn't that quick because I took the 1 week, and you have to write the exam, so it's all exam based. So you got to get 75 or higher.
Right.
So
it's right in your wheelhouse. You're good.
With a little bit of work, we can get it up there. 75 or 0, but you can't register for course 2 until you pass.
Pass part 1.
Yeah.
You can't register for course 3 until you pass 2.
And if you do it back then online, you could have probably done it quicker, because then I think you could start right away, like maybe the following week. Yeah. But since I was doing it in class, I'd have to wait for an opening. And I was lucky I did it in Toronto, where they have way more classes running than in Niagara. If I only took it in class in Niagara, it would have taken probably a year and a half, where I think I did it in 7 months or something, which is really quick.
Were you scared? This is going to sound like a silly question, but I'll just use an example. I remember
no such thing as a silly question unless you've asked it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But were you ever afraid? And I don't mean of taking the courses.
Yeah.
But when... So I guess my question is, were you afraid that you were going to make a mistake, or your first sale? Everybody remembers your first sale.
Yeah.
Or the first one that required you.
Yeah.
That wasn't just ordinary. Or offer sheet comes in.
Yeah.
They accept, sign.
Of course I was scared.
Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah.
I just remember the first time where I was a vice principal. Right, teacher, that's easy, right? For me, it was always easy. First time I was a vice principal, no big deal. You got a principal and another vice principal with you for the most part. So, your team and everything else. And one vice principal calls in sick. It's October, right around Halloween. And then the principal says, I got to leave. I got a meeting, whatever else. You're running the school.
Now you're number one.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there going... And you play the what if game, right? What if that happened? What would I do? You worry about that stuff. There's this... I think everybody's genuinely or intrinsically afraid of failure, afraid of messing up or screwing up, right? So then you start to play the what if game, which can be very dangerous, with regards to that. And how about this? Have you ever? I have a friend who's a real estate agent up in Owen Sound, or was, and I think he still is. And he said sometimes he got some satisfaction out of actually stopping people from buying a house. Because he knew it wasn't the right move for them at that point in time in their life. And he said he'd much rather keep them as friends and as future clients than putting them into a situation where 2 years from now they're going to be like, why the hell did that guy sell me that house?
That's interesting.
Do you know what I mean? So I remember him saying, sometimes his dilemma was, I don't want to sell this person this house because... who am I to judge what somebody... But that is not the right move for them. This house is a money pit. This is here. You're selling real estate to friends, and sometimes it might be, I got to make the sale.
Right.
But the other part is, I want to do right by this person.
I'll tell you my approach to that, because they're very interesting, and different realtors have different aspects with that. I have learned a lesson along the way of trying to tell somebody not to buy a property, because one time I did that, and I'm like, this house is a shithole, and they ended up buying it and turning it into a beautiful place and loving it. And if they just took my thing, they would have never bought it and went. But with the approach I take with people is I just give them as much information as possible and let them make their decisions. Mm-hmm. I don't push people to buy a property or not buy property. I don't sell houses. People, what I sell is myself. They want to work with me. They take my representation. And then, so if there's realtors out there that will do that to deter people. But I've seen people buy stuff that I think that they could have bought something else, but I just give them as much of the information as possible and let them make their decision. Because people are going to do what they're going to want to do. You stop somebody from buying something, then they could be mad at you later that they didn't end up buying that house.
Right, and then it
backfires.
Doubles in value in 3 years.
Exactly, and they didn't get into the market because you stopped them from buying. So I'm all about just educating them as much as I can. But when you were talking about, am I ever scared? What was that part? The scared?
No, I just mean the first time that you're doing something where you don't have.
Yeah.
So the question is I guess really this is that fear is, who were your your real estate, I want to call them
mentors,
champions or mentors.
Yeah.
There was somebody there that was able to help you through until you became comfortable doing it. Now I don't think about, well, I have the school by myself. I mean, I know what I'm doing. Right?
Yeah, you got it under control.
I got it, no matter what the situation. I think I got a pretty good handle on what I would react and how I'd react to things or how I would deal with things, which is what you have now. But then you probably still have questions. But there must have been somebody that you're like, is this the right way to do things?
Yeah, I'll paint a little bit of picture. When I got out of school, because the little bit of difference when you get out of real estate school is when you go interview brokerages, you interview which one you want to go to, because they'll basically all take you. Mm-hmm. So you get to pick which one you think is going to be best fit. And the most important thing for me that I was looking for was training. I needed training, because to me, school, fine and dandy, but when you're in the real world, you got to learn how things actually work. Like even in school, I passed all the tests, but I didn't know anything about real estate. I forgot it all. I learned by doing, not by reading about it.
A lot of people are like that.
Yeah, so I picked Century 21 when I went there, because when I interviewed the 5 brokerages or whatever, I felt that their training was the best, because I knew I wasn't ready to sell a house. I, not handy, didn't know different furnace types. I didn't know different floorings. I didn't know shingle. I didn't know anything about houses. Right. So I'm like, how am I going to sell houses when I don't know? So I need training. So I went to Century 21, picked their training, and then mentors. I was lucky the way it turned out. When I worked there, just right away I started working tons of hours. Even when I wasn't selling any houses, I would spend as much time as I could in Dean Pedro's office. He also went to Lakeshore, a few years older.
Dean. Yeah,
Portuguese guy. So he grew up with very similar as me. Parents from the same area of Portugal my mom is. Grew up on a farm, so I knew he knew how to work like crazy. Portuguese guy, and he's in real estate. So Dean, really welcoming. Let me shadow him anytime. I would go sit in his office when he's talking to people, clients, realtors, whatever, just seeing. I didn't even know how to be professional, really, right? I didn't know how to conduct myself. And then also Don Takich works in my office. He was my first guy on podcasts. He's over 70 years old, been in the business 25 years or whatever. And I would go spend hours with him telling me, he calls them the scars on his back, all the mistakes he made. Yeah. And he helped me stay out of the gutter with lots of mistakes, just by him telling me about paychecks that he would get that are $0 because his whole commission got ate up into whatever mistake he made.
Right.
So,
aren't the numbers pretty? There's a real what are the numbers as far as real estate agents? There's swing a dead cat and find a real estate agent. There's so many of them in Niagara.
There's about 1,100, somewhere in there.
But only a much smaller percentage are actually
doing the work,
doing something, right?
Yeah, the 80-20 rule applies. About 20% doing 80% of the work. And I recently talked to a realtor that said that, who knows the numbers because of where she is, like admin wise and stuff, that it's more like 90-10. It's like 10% of realtors doing 90% of the work.
And then there's 90% of them that it's kind of a part-time thing. They sell 1 or 2 homes here and there.
So whatever, maybe none, maybe a few.
Side job, maybe.
Side job. It's funny because in real estate, there's people that have another job. There's other people that their spouse does really well, so they just kind of do this to fill the time. There's people that just have tons of money, and they just, so that they have something to do, they'll do it once in a while. There's all kinds of different scenarios. But when I first started too, my very first deal, I had an agent. It wasn't actually Dean, another agent, because Dean was too busy, that I had do the deal for me. It was my client, and I watched her do the deal so I could see, because even though I just took the course, on the offer, one of the things on page 1 that you write in is when the other side has to respond to your offer. It's called the irrevocable. So if I wanted to buy your house, I make you an offer, you have until 8 o'clock tonight to respond, or the offer's off the table.
Right.
I didn't even know what an irrevocable was, and here I am writing up an offer for a client. So she helped me through that. And that I had that coaching, like doing it for me and me watching on the first one. And then on the second one, I think I did it on my own and just went over it with like Dean and my
how
broker
long
and stuff.
Were you at it before you were like,
I know what I'm doing?
I got this?
Well, I still am learning stuff.
Oh, always, because every house is different, right?
Everything,
all kinds of conditions, and
every deal is different somehow.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similar stuff. But with me, it's funny how it works with me, because in my first, there's realtors that have been in the business 30 years that in my first year I did more business than them. So a realtor says I've been in the business 30 years, they maybe did 10 deals in that time. So as a realtor, your length in the profession doesn't show how much experience you have.
Well, that's a great expression that people use sometimes when, you'll get that in anything. I've been doing this for 25. It's not how long you've been doing something. It's how well you've been doing something.
Right.
Right? It's really,
100%.
When people say, like, I used to hate when you would get these stipulations, like, you can apply for this job if you have 5 years experience in this field. I'm like, 5 years experience? I couldn't apply to be a program chair, of religion or English or whatever, any program, unless you had 5 teaching years. And I'm like, man, there's nothing happens after 5 years.
Right.
Well, now they're ready. Like,
right.
I understand. Like, they didn't want someone coming in there who's
completely green,
who all of a sudden is leading people. Like, I get that. But to say that, to put a time frame on it, right, is just to say that, well, now that you've completed this number of years, now you're ready. Like, I get it, but by the same token, you're right. There's people who've done nothing for 30 years, right? So
I don't remember exactly how long it took, but I'll tell you one of the moments that I realized when I was starting to really grasp it, because on my first lots of deals, I would call Dean, whether I call him or see him in the office, and tell him what was going on. And he would kind of help me through the situation. And I thank him however I can, whenever I can, because he put up with my shit for a long time. I'd be calling him 8, 9, probably 10 o'clock, probably later at night. This is what's going on.
What's he doing now? Still there?
Still there. Still
doing
grinding.
Great job. Yeah.
Doing great. Me and him compete every year of who's going to do more, and we're always somewhere in the realm, and he's doing really well.
Good for him.
And I remember while calling him, I knew I'm pushing the envelope into his personal time. But he always took the call.
Yeah.
And I always appreciated it, and I still do to this day. And I remember at some point just being like, what am I doing to this guy? Like, he's so helping me so much, but I may be taking advantage because he's helping me.
Right.
Like, this is his family. The guy's got 4 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
And I'm calling him, and he's taking the call while I hear his kids in the background. Yeah, and he's takes the time to give me his 2 cents on it.
But what that mean? Somebody did that for him, Joe.
He's had some help.
You're going to do it for somebody else.
Yeah, I try to help.
Pay it forward.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Right? Because that's important, right? You need to have those champions in your life.
key.
Wherever they are. You get one in high school, you get one in university, you get one in, they're there. When you look back on it, you're like, wow. A silly one for me was, when I was in university, and I was just doing some silly lecture in a TA class, right, for something, and my professor was at the back of the room because he was just there evaluating things or whatever else, and I think it was fourth year students in poli-sci who were talking to first year students, and we had to present something each week. It's just part of a group project. It wasn't nothing major, but there were a bunch of people that were, and I had to do it every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, and attendance was low, but then attendance was up, and I just remember I left. It's in fourth year. I walked to the back of the lecture hall, and he stopped me, and he said, Gifford. And he goes, what are you doing after university? And I said, I think I'm going to go be a cop.
Wow.
And he said, that would be a complete disservice to your talent, which is teaching. Did you ever think about being a teacher? And I was like, I'm 4 years in to university. And I'm like, no. And I went home, and I'm back to my house that I was living in at university.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, maybe I should be like, he said it to
wow.
me in 30 seconds, like just an off the cuff comment, a lovely compliment, because he was watching me like interact with these kids. But he was just like, you like, if you don't do this, that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
There's a guy that's just, for some weird reason, just positioned into your life That's
amazing. I never heard this before.
Yeah, no, and then I remember, like, with my son now, who's going through the process to be a police officer, just graduated from university, and I did a trivia night for the Dale Racine scholarship fund. He's an officer who passed away, and was in the Marine unit, and so I was running a trivia night for them so they could give scholarships to kids in high school. Wonderful cause, great guy. And I dragged my son to this thing for community service, kicking and screaming, almost literally. I didn't want to go, I wasted time. I'm like, you got to go. Come on, help the old man out. I'm doing this.
Right.
And he goes there, and they show a video every year, of Constable Racine. And he was in the dive unit. And he was, he trained RCMP divers. And he was a Niagara guy, and he did fantastic work, and it opened up for my son watching that video. I know he was like, wow, man, like, police really, like, it's not just speeding tickets. They could be in so many different facets of policing, and he became, and ever since then, he wanted to be a police officer. Right?
That's awesome.
That was so just,
I'm
dragging him. I'm literally dragging, get in the car. I swear you need to help me. And it had that kind of impact. And then I just see,
that's awesome.
When you see stuff like that, you never know what's gonna click for somebody. It's just, it could be anything, with a compliment or something like that. And I just, remember saying to one girl, I don't even know if she's doing it, and I wouldn't mention the name, but I just said, you need to, like, I know your parents probably want you to go to university, but you should have your own YouTube channel, or you should be streaming, you should be gaming on Twitch or something. Like, you're funny, you do all this crazy kind of stuff, like, you're just good at this.
Right.
Like, you'd be a that's why I was going to ask you too, like, what, like, all of a sudden podcast, right? Like, we're selling real estate, and I know all that stuff is good, and you're doing all this crazy stuff, but this is kind of a neat, creative venue or avenue for you, an outlet for you of things that you wanted to do.
This is fun. Yeah. And what inspired it was when I got into real estate. I don't remember if I read it in a book, in an article, or what. I seen something that when you get into, I don't think it was just for realtors. I think it was in business for yourself, that networking is an important thing. And one of the things it said was go out into the community and have lunch once a month with somebody you wouldn't have lunch with that's from the community. Whether it's a business owner, a coach, this, that, mechanic, anything. Once a month, go have lunch with somebody you wouldn't. Never did it. Always wanted to do it. Never did it. Podcasting's like becoming popular, whatever. I do a lot of content creation. I'm like, what better way, even though I love eating and I thought it was a great way to like interact with somebody, this is what came out of it. It's just a forced conversation with somebody. And
never forced, Joe.
Well, we booked this in. It was scheduled, maybe not scheduled in. So, and that's just what brought the podcasting for me, was wanting to do that. And then like in the short time I started this, I've already had some really conversations I didn't know I'd be having, talking to people I didn't know I'd be talking to about different things. Even here, I don't remember talking conspiracy theory. I don't think I ever heard how you actually became a teacher.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot. So like to me, it's just, I don't know, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat to sometimes peel back the layers, right?
And see what's going on.
Different things happening, right?
Yeah.
And so it's nice to hear about, about Mr. Pedro there, like taking you under his wing and doing some things, being and I think what I like to, tell students too is like, all that, the fear that you have, which is a crippling thing, I talked about the real estate between your ears, like that, kids can talk themselves out of things so easily. Yeah. Right? There's so many different reasons why you don't do something, right? Mm-hmm. That you see, I remember watching a kid play. So sadly, I was older than I would like to admit, where I would run down when I was at my mother-in-law's house. I was already married, and run down to the corner store because they had that game Mortal Kombat. And I would throw quarters into that thing and play that thing. Oh, it was great. Right? Trying to learn all their moves. It's so stupid, but so great. And it was a quarter back then, so who cared, right? Just play 4 games, and I didn't do very well, but I get that and I'd watch other kids play. And then I remember one time watching this kid play, and then I just started watching him. And right away, and as I was watching him, he died instantly.
Oh, yeah?
Almost on purpose. He didn't want me to watch him. It's like when you handed in your test. A lot of kids hand in their test and they put it on the bottom. Like,
so, right.
You know what I mean? They don't want to see.
Don't look at it.
Don't look at it. Don't fold it and turn it upside down, right? Like they handed it here. And then put it in the middle, right? Like, oh, you're right. I'll never see it now, right? It's completely safe. But kids, they do that all the time, right? That's
hilarious.
There is that fear of, this isn't going to go over well, or this is going to be a total flop, and
right.
We've done some things that I think other people, in school level maybe aren't doing, and we're just like, let's take a swing, like let's have a concert at school, or
I love that,
like and we might end up flat on our face and lose some money and do something, but it's that Wayne Gretzky, right? You miss 100% of shots you don't take, right? So, or 100 million or whatever percentage that we were talking about earlier, but you miss those things. So try something. That's why when I found sometimes even with my own kids where I was saying, you got to do this and you got to do that, and I just hopefully, I don't know if I have, have dialed back on that a little bit, where I've been like, their path will find them. You're going to find those champions in your life that are going to help you along the way, and some just randomly, they don't even know they are doing it.
Exactly.
And they're just going to guide you, and you're going to be like, hey, I never considered this. You should do that. Why don't you try this? And so,
see, I tried to extend the olive branch a little bit, and I haven't had success with the scholarship I have. Mm-hmm. I wanted it to try and be that I helped them more. Mm-hmm. But all of them, I've given them the scholarship, and I only see them once a year when we go on our tour for Brock. Like, you know how the scholarship is set up, right? Like, I give them the money, and then we go sometime before school starts, and I bring everybody that's won, and we all go and give them a tour. It seems kind of good, but I'm trying to offer these kids an open line, and I don't know if I'm doing a bad job or what, that if they ever want to bounce stuff off of me, because I had somebody like that in university, and he helped me because I'm in school for business, and I'm like, when I was in school for business, I'm learning about all these businesses. I thought I was going to be in the corporate world, and I wanted to know what it was actually like, not just in books, and I had somebody along the way kind of telling me what the real world was like.
Have you reached out to them in the platform where they are? As opposed to like they
Facebook.
Live in their phones. No, not Facebook.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it could be something as quick as
Instagram.
You're sending them an Instagram or Snapchat message.
No, I haven't.
That might be, you got to reach them where they are.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're wondering why I'm talking to all these people, and we're, if you reach out to them, a lot of times people need that, right? They need the reach out.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm missing.
A lot of people have that I don't want to bother that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to have, a lot of people, it sounds odd, but
no,
a lot of people have a hard time asking for help or assistance.
Yeah. 100%.
They see it as a weakness.
100%.
Right? So, maybe you should look at,
I should reach out
getting all of their, whoever wins this point forward or from wherever else, the former winners, that you get them all in whatever, I don't know, like
Instagram or
Snapchat.
An
Instagram group group chat or something, or a group on Snapchat, and just say, hey, you post your videos. This is what I'm doing. Whatever else, if you need some assistance,
I like that.
As
that's
they're going through. It's just a way that
that's key.
You want to get your audience right. One time I was speaking at a PD day, and I realized, listen, I got the secret for the PD day. Like, I know how it works. Here's what it works. You start late, you take a longer break, and you end early. Right, like that works for people, right? Because
what do you mean?
You mean you have to understand your audience, right? Like no one.
PD day there's no school that day.
Yeah, but there is for staff, right?
There is you got to go in.
Right? Of course I do.
Oh,
like we're doing professional.
I've never been there.
Yeah, or I've spoken sometimes. I've spoken like to new teachers. As a veteran teacher.
What was it when it was PA?
Professional activity, professional development. It's
Gotcha.
So when you're presenting,
I went to school a long time. I just knew it was a day off. I didn't know you guys were
doing
stuff.
You? Yeah, what do you think? We're all hanging out with this.
I thought you guys took the day off too. I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to improve our craft, right?
Okay, so the secret recipe. Sorry.
So the secret recipe is, you say you got the whole day, but I mean, the whatever you have to cover. But it's just like if you were teaching, like it's all in the delivery, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. Do you start at 8:05? We come in at 8:30 that day.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit longer for lunch, and but if you're if you're covering the content, I remember one time I was thanking somebody for doing it was a faith day, the one day, and he was a great speaker. Right? He did a great job, and it's part of it is like knowing your audience, right? Like. You got to know you're sitting in a room with 500 teachers or 500 real estate agents or whatever.
Right.
How long do you have? Like, what's your window? Like, you can either engage them and be funny and laughing, and you can keep them in the palm of your hand for an hour, 2 hours. What about 5?
Right.
Like that's a tough ask, right?
Yeah.
There's people who've tuned out of this podcast, right?
100%.
So,
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So the moral of the story there is like, how long do you have? And you really have to know your audience. This guy knew his audience. I remember I had to thank him. His name was Terry. He was from Chicago. And I remember this is how I thanked him. I said, Terry, I got to tell you, we've had a lot of faith days, over my history here. And, there was a pause, just like I am now.
Right.
And you know what? Most of them are stinkers, but this wasn't, thanks. I shook his hand. He laughed. He thought it was the funniest thing. Because most of them are stinkers, right? Most of them are just like, oh my God. Like,
boring.
But if you take, again, going back to time, you take that time and you make that meaningful and you're actually getting something out of that day that's going to make you better, in the classroom. It's going to make you better, whatever you're doing, make you a better real estate agent. I'm going to teach somebody some tips that are going to actually improve them in their area. That's the secret.
It's amazing.
Otherwise, it's just, you're just looking at the clock. You're just staring at the clock going, oh, what am I having for lunch?
Right.
It's 10 o'clock and I'm dying, right?
See, and I want to try and offer this to some kids. Right now, actually, I have one kid that is in a field that's completely not like mine. He came out of school taking, I don't know if it was videography or photography. Mm-hmm. So I've actually got him working with me now, doing some work for me. I'm not paying him, but I'm giving him experience. It's kind of like an internship, but it's nothing to do with real estate.
But it's helping with your videos and stuff?
Not these. So he's done a couple like house tours, like Robin shoots.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's neat.
And like pictures for that. And I had him come out and shoot 2 events so far that I went to, just to kind of give him some practical experience. And this,
how'd he do?
He actually killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it with the events. His first house stuff, he actually was not great, and we've given him suggestions, and we're looking at giving him more to practice on because he needs practice. He's got the eye and stuff, he just doesn't have practice doing it yet. But at first when I started, I brought him on through his aunt. I'm friends with his aunt, and she said, "Can you give Matt you all right?"
Yeah, I'm just readjusting here.
Bound
up in this chair.
Yeah, I know.
I have to go to the bathroom again soon.
It's all good. You can give her any time.
Finish your story.
Yeah, she's like, "Can you give Matt you some work?" Because she's like, "You do tons of video." But I have Robin shooting all my like Burger and Must See Monday ones. I'm doing all that video stuff. I couldn't pay somebody to do all that. There's
tons of time.
I would go broke doing it. But she asked me if I could help him, so I brought him on. And at first I was feeling bad. He's doing all this work and I'm not paying him, because for me, did
he say to you afterwards? He's like, "Thanks, Joe. You're really."
He loves it.
Yeah. See,
he loves it.
You're doing him a service, really.
Yeah, because
despite how it looks.
Yeah. I'm not just.
Despite.
But yeah, you did.
He's in the technology sweatshop over here.
But he's getting that experience he wasn't going to get, and I wasn't sure, because myself, I could work for free, even today, for somebody if I'm going to learn stuff.
Yeah.
And I almost felt bad, like I was saying, because I wasn't paying him, and I couldn't even pay him to do a lot of stuff. Well, some of it I could, because there's value there, but it's amazing that he's taking and learning that. And that's kind of what I was hoping to do, and still want to try and figure out what these kids that I'm giving the scholarship to. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when you talk about hours of work, I work lots.
Yeah.
And these kids, I don't know if to help them, like, do some work with me or whatever, I'd love to try, because I have work that I can't get to, and that interns would be great. And I don't know. I think I've talked to you about this before.
Co-op student or something, yeah.
I don't even know co-op.
But I think you're looking for, it's what it is, really. I'm going to leave you before I go to the bathroom again.
Yeah.
Is you're looking to mentor someone. You're looking to give back, Joe Gonzalez, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is noble. So, kill time here again.
I love it. I could take a leak probably too. I really hope all of this is working. The clock is still rolling. The microphones still show like they're going. On there is working. This is shaping up to be the longest podcast we've done so far, and I hope that it all worked. But this is amazing. Talking about things I didn't even know what I was going to talk about here with Mr. Glenn Gifford here. My favorite. I mean, I had other high school teachers I really liked, but my favorite high school teacher by far, Mr. Gifford, learned tons from him. You can see he's still teaching me things. He's wealth of knowledge. I feel like we could be here for 40 hours and still not cover all the things. And we could talk about history. There's a bunch. I'm hoping not today, but another time I can get Cole's notes on a bunch of history stuff from Giff, because he knows a ton of it that I don't know, that I'd love to know. But as you can see, Giff's a great guy. He's yes, I might have to take a leak soon too, where he crushed like a pitcher of water. Might want to close it. Yeah, just the sound. Yeah, I don't know. With that whole thing, it's something I'll have to work on a little bit. But because now I've been running that scholarship, I don't know if it's been 5 or whatever. I think it's 5 or 6 I've done.
Yeah, 5 for sure.
And the first winner, Matt Brule, he's got to be coming close to graduating. I haven't talked to him in a little bit. We talk at least once a year, but I don't know what these kids are going to be doing out of school or not. But I want to try for a couple reasons. I feel like if any of them or others can come and intern with me, that they could learn a ton. And it's not me just looking for free labor, even though that's part of it. I think that if any one of them could learn a ton by being in the trenches, like day in and day out. Because I work tons and there's lots of stuff. These kids could learn a lot, but I haven't put a lot of effort into it. But this first one, like I said, with Matt Yu came up, and like I think he's getting good value. Yeah, he is. Like that's I can tell.
It was a co-op, like I remember one kid saying to me one time, they're like, I want to be a early childhood educator. I was like, that's fantastic, of course. Like, that I said, take it at co-op. Like, they can get you a placement there, and you can go in and you see what it's like. And so then they came back, the next day, and I'm like, well, Mr. Gifford, sorry, but I'm out of your class now because I'm actually taking co-op, because, the first 2 weeks are cover letters and resumes and interview skills, and this was like 3rd day of school or whatever it was. And I'm like, well, that's a shame. That's too bad, but good you're getting it's grade 11. It's good you're getting a co-op placement that, you want, you're interested in.
Yeah.
2nd week, she's back in my class. So what happened? She goes, I don't want to be an early childhood educator. In fact, I'm not having children. I'm done. Are you crazy? Those kids, Mr. Gifford, they're nuts. Like I'm not, and I'm like, well, thank God you learned that at co-op. Like, imagine going 2 years of college and then or whatever else, and then going in and starting working in that capacity and be like, not only do I realize I hated children. Like I don't even want my own. I don't even want to procreate because I can't even handle it. So again, it's people need.
That's a good way to learn quickly.
A ton of experience. That you want that hands-on experience. Somebody else one time said to me, "Well, my dad owns a body shop. I'm gonna end up just working in the body shop." And I said, "Have you worked in the body shop yet?" And they're like, "No." And I said, "Well, why don't you go work for your dad? Like even a co-op, your dad will take you, whatever in the morning." And he was back, 2 weeks later.
Not
because guess what his dad had him doing at a body shop? And anybody here who has ever been to a body shop or worked at a body shop, like he was sanding cars, like sanding all the Bondo down and getting it all down. And that when you're entry-level body shop, that's what you're doing all day. Like Ralph Macchio on Karate Kid, like wax on, wax off without the karate, right? Like he wasn't learning anything other than sore muscles, and he was learning this is how you start. And he got a bigger appreciation for what his dad did. He's, oh my God, my dad's worked so hard to provide for me. Like he puts in, he's carrying the mail here. Like he's putting in real work here, and he's worked his way up where he's doing the detailing, the painting now and stuff, and he's got some other people working for him. But I mean, if this is where I got to start, I ain't doing that. Like, yeah, it's a family business, but not for me. But who knows? I don't know where he ended up. But it's funny that you want to give people those opportunities and experiences, but sometimes you got to put in the time, right? That's the tough one, right?
I like it.
People shy away from that. So you want to. How long have we been going at this, Joe?
This is the longest one. We're at.
Of course it is.
I think we just hit 3 hours. Oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
Well, this is. Is there anything that you came here that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about?
Is such a thing possible? No, no, we're good. Like, it's fantastic.
There's stuff that I want to talk about, but we would be here forever. That's what I was saying while you're gone, but.
Podcast number 2.
Yeah, well, you'll come back another time.
I would love to. Give it some time. I think the audience needs a break from me for a while.
I don't know about that. I
don't know. I'm pretty sure they would. Yeah, we were on about everything, though. That was great. That was conspiracy theories and a couple of peas and my dad beating me with a garden hose.
I like it.
Yeah, it was great.
But there's, we could have got deeper into history stuff.
Yeah.
We barely talked about football.
Prediction. Yeah, oh my God, football. Totally didn't talk about football.
There's... we didn't talk video games, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prediction.
Yes.
We will come back.
Yeah.
A year from now. Maybe. 6 months from now.
I hope not.
And they will still haven't found anything on Oak Island. I can guarantee. From what I hear, that's a pretty safe prediction. They're going to find a shell.
How about this? How many seasons do you think that show will go? How's that for a prediction? Yeah. You're at 6 now.
9.
And then at 9, they just stop because it fizzled away.
At the end of each season on that show, to go back, at the end of each season, they go back and they're like, you think we should continue doing this? And then they all go around the war room, which is like a trailer about the size of this room, and they all sit there and go, I think there's something down there. Do you know what I learned the other day from one of my colleagues who also is upset that they're sucked into watching it? It's the #1 rated show on History Channel.
Really?
#1 with a bullet.
Wow. So it's going to keep going.
Yeah. It's like those other shows too. Remember it's called, what was that? The Learning Channel, LC?
Yeah.
Learning Channel.
Yeah.
And now have you seen what happened?
TLC.
The Learning Channel. Have you seen what's on TLC now?
No.
No one's learning anything on TLC anymore.
It's not.
There's no knowledge. It's 90 Day Fiancé. Oh, another brilliant TV show.
You watch this?
Oh my God, my wife watches it, and I take it in through osmosis. Right? Like I'm there in bed, while it's happening, and I got one earbud in, and I'm doing something on the Bills or the draft or something, and I'm listening to things. I'm doing something. I'm like, is this girl really that stupid? Does she actually think this guy's going to leave Morocco to come here? Like he's using it for citizenship. And she's like, I know, they're all like that. It's just different people, different cities, different crazy madness that's on there.
Yeah, Robin's watched that
600-pound life and all these things.
What's that other one? Catfish.
Yeah, that's another good one. Well, I don't really watch that much, but that's the thing. People getting duped on the internet.
Yeah,
falling in love with
whoever, whatever,
some fake photograph, and then they really look at the person. They're like, "All right, well, we want you to introduce. It's not this model that you've been talking to all the time. It's Quasimodo. It's the he rings the bells at Notre Dame. Come on in. It's this guy come in with a hunchback, right? Two
That's
teeth,
hilarious.
right? He can smoke without his hands, right? It just looks awful. Like he comes in. I shouldn't have lied. I'm sorry, but I love you.
You still love me. This is me.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's hilarious. It's just, I don't know. It's entertainment, I guess, but there's no learning going on anymore.
No.
But that Oak Island is the #1 show.
That's unreal. I've heard of it and I watched a little bit.
They must be making enough to keep looking for stuff because nobody's footing this money for 6 years and not finding anything.
Right.
You got to get a little bit of return on your investment there.
So is it kind of like raw, or is it acted? Like, is it real?
It's completely. I mean, they're really digging, and they're really looking for stuff.
Right.
But it's completely edited with that announcer too. Like it's just they get you. I'm telling you, just you didn't pinky swear me, but
no,
they're gonna get you, Joe. They're gonna get you sucked in, and then you're gonna be. And I'm saving you. Just it's not like you ever know. You couldn't have started Game of Thrones season 8 or Breaking Bad season 5. You couldn't have started this show. You needed to.
Yeah.
You don't need that with the Curse of Oak Island.
You can just jump in.
Jump in. You haven't found anything, right? Just jump in, right? You don't waste 6 years of your life, right? 60 episodes or whatever it is, 72 episodes. They're looking for stuff on this island. They haven't found 4/5 of jack squat yet. They got a couple of trinkets. We're still waiting for the mother load.
So do you ever? I know we're getting close, but have you ever done geocaching? Does that kind of thing?
Oh my God, I did.
Yeah,
I have with my kids.
It's fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
And so much so, I mean, my daughter and a friend of hers, myself, because I was you get into a geocaching mode.
Yeah.
You get into a little groove of geocaching for about a month.
Yeah.
And then you cross some crazy geocaching line. How long have you geocached? Like I was with my daughter a few times, and then I'm wandering around in this guy's backyard.
This is a little much.
I'm looking for something outside of a barn on Dominion Road in Fort Erie, and I'm like, this guy's got a dog. I'm going to get killed. Looking for some trinket, right? Putting my name down and leaving a toy soldier and grabbing a Pokemon card or whatever the heck it was. I just remember doing that. I got angry. I got really triggered one time when I was looking for one because when you get the geocaching app and then you're close and you're within a couple meters.
Now you got to figure it out.
And you got to figure it out. I guess there's some really cool ones down by the old Fort Erie.
I bet.
You go down the Parkway. And even along the Friendship Trail in Fort Erie, there's probably about 60 of them.
Yeah.
They're little tiny things off somewhere on a branch somewhere. And some people do it and they do it right. They put something back and do something. And other people just take the caches out of there.
Yeah.
And I remember I said, we were so into it there for a couple weeks. I was like, we could put one, like next to my property is like a wooded lot, right? I said, we could put one back there. I think trilliums grow back there, like the flower.
Nice.
We could put them back by the trillium and we could leave a clue, and I just remember, I think it was my wife or my son who was like, time out. You're going to have people walking around in that lot with a miner's cap at 3 o'clock in the morning,
right?
Finding their geocache. It's going to be crazy. Really, how involved do you want people in your business?
Right.
It's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe geocaching is
tone it down.
On a different side of geocaching, but it is fun. That's not what this is. That's not what Oak Island thing is. But but that's kind of a neat thing.
Yeah,
it's
it's a little
the ultimate
treasure.
geocache underground, 180 feet somewhere, but they don't know where.
Have you heard of? I think they have it out west. Some company started this geocaching real life. The geocaching is real life, but where they bury $100 or hide $100,000. Oh
wow! So Amazing Race on geocaching,
but real life, and it's like anybody can do it. And I think the way they do it
is like tons of different geocaches with clues and stuff to get you closer.
As I understand it, they buried 3 $100,000 treasure chests, and to find there's different clues and stuff, but you buy a map, and I guess they're trying to sell over $100,000 worth of maps.
Yeah, they want to try to sell 100,000 maps at $3 a piece to pay for that.
Yeah.
To pay
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
And then have at it and find it.
But I guess, I don't know. They've had it out west. I think I just seen it recently. I think that one or two of the treasures were found, and I think there's another one. I think they're talking about bringing it to our area. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Would you do Amazing Race?
Yeah, I'd do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That would be great.
Yeah, would you?
I would.
Well,
Perhaps we should submit something.
yeah, we'll submit. That'd be fun. Your first thing
We'll
when you
video it
retire.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would.
I'd try it out. I don't know how good I don't know how I'd try it for sure. Is that when there's not a ton of
If
like
we didn't run, you could sweet talk somebody for a cab. I'm sure you could.
Yeah,
negotiate things.
we
With
could get cabs. I'd have
get an Uber.
Yeah, I think
Take
Uber.
us up Mount Kilimanjaro. Like we'll be fine.
Why? Because there's like physical stuff, right? I'd have to do a little. I think.
You want to train for a while?
I'd have to train before going.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of it's cerebral.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to find out. You watch people. You really see. You learn a lot about people when they faced with adversity, right? You watch people like on that show just absolutely coming unglued. You know, because, they missed a train or something, or someone's...
Right.
And I laugh when I watch it, but I'm like, that's totally me. That's totally me.
Yeah?
Like little things, Joe, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, but little things start to bother me that shouldn't.
You've mentioned this a few times. You're...
51, but I mean...
Yeah, but young.
Yeah.
20 years from now, you'll wish you were 51.
But 20 years ago, these kind of things didn't bother me, Joe.
Sure,
here's one, right? People in the line at Tim Hortons. Like, pull up. Why do you need a car length between you and the other car? Right? Like you're driving a Honda Prelude.
Right.
Like you're not driving like a Maserati. Like just move up a little bit. There's people behind you, that can't
Let's be a little
make
efficient
their
here.
order. You know what I mean? Like I had to get a Nexus card because I was that guy who was like, oh, that lane's moving faster. And I would I'd try to butt in, and my wife was just horrified. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm not in a hurry. I've left myself plenty of time.
Yeah.
Why do I care that a
Just
car
be efficient.
is doing 80 in an 80 zone? Why am I so triggered by that? Like I should just take it easy. Like
Efficiency's good.
yeah, efficiency. But then it goes. Yeah, that was the one favorite story that at Tim Hortons. You have to roll up the rim.
Yeah.
I'm behind a guy. He's roll up to his rim. What's your technique for rolling up the rim? You bottom teeth.
Push it.
You push it. You don't use your teeth.
No teeth.
Gnaw at it for a while. Work your way down like a corn cob.
Push it. Hands.
Hands.
Why? You go at it with your teeth?
I'm telling you that I don't know how many people are listening to this right now.
Yeah.
That's anarchy. What you're doing right there.
Why?
I don't know. I'm all with my bottom teeth. I'm rolling it up, and then you rip it off, right? So you hand it like that.
Yeah. One swipe. Boom.
Crazy town.
You don't like that.
I'm more of a.
Okay,
I work
sure.
my way. I sip the coffee on the actual part that's going to soften up the cardboard to make it loose. Anyway, so I do that. So I watch this guy. He rips off the tab. We all rip them off. Some people cut it off, but he's got it ripped off. And he goes to the drive-thru and he says, "This is what he says." Right? You've been to a drive-thru, right?
Yeah.
He says, "I'll have a large double, and I have one of these." And he holds it up to the microphone. I have one of these. I heard him say it because I was behind him. Like, what is
hilarious.
happening here?
That's
What is he
hilarious.
do? It's not a camera. Right? Like, how does she know what that means? I have one of these. If
Did
were
you
on the
say
other
anything
end,
or just
I
laugh?
said, "Buddy, it's not a camera." And he laughed. I used to do that.
Great.
I did this one time as a lesson. I said with kids. I don't know if you remember, a long time ago before your time, there was a kid said he bet he could eat a dozen donuts. And I was like, I'll take a piece of that action. Like, I don't think you can eat a dozen donuts. One sitting, we're talking one class. You're going to sit there. We're going to bring in a dozen donuts. Okay. And we're going to open them up and that's it. He says, yeah. He goes, well, you guys got to pay for the donuts.
Sure.
How much was a dozen donuts in 1997? Right? Like, I don't know.
Not even $10.
Yeah,
Not even
whatever.
$6,
It was like
$7,
$5, right?
Yeah.
So there was a kid, Mike Clattenburg. I still remember Mike. And he said, I worked there, Mr. Gifford. He goes, I'll make the donuts. I said, get me the Boston cream. Those are the tough ones. Oh, man, I'll really load them up. So when you take a donut and you take a bite of a Boston cream, it takes you a bite, 2 bites
to get in there.
The cream. This kid, his name was Sean. He grabs his first donut. First off, I grabbed the box of donuts to bring it over to his. Now, so everybody threw in. I paid for the donuts. Everybody threw in for a toonie. So we had about $40 for him.
Nice.
So if he got this 12 donuts down, totally goes against
whatever
health guidelines, whatever else. But we were just, hey, you're talking smack about your donut eating.
Let's make it happen.
Let's see it. Let's make it happen. It's 1998, right? lined up, all the toonies or whatever it was. There you go. You got $40 here. If not, everybody gets their money back. Piece of cake. I grabbed the donuts off the desk, and I thought to myself, damn, these are some heavy donuts. Like, it was like these donuts didn't weigh what a normal dozen weighed, right? So I
amazing.
Put them down there, and this guy goes, oh, piece of cake. He took a bite of this first donut, and they were so packed full of cream. The first bite, right out onto his desk, and the kids are like, you want to eat that? It's like doing that belly buster thing at Empty Bellies or something, right? So he's like licking off the cream.
How far did he get?
He got 8 donuts in.
Wow.
It was a ridiculous amount. It was so disgusting after a while. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I thought for a minute he was going to do it.
Do you think if they weren't filled more, he could have got it?
I think he would have got 9 or 10 for sure.
I had this same bet with Dembeston.
Yeah.
And he finished them.
Oh.
But it wasn't Boston cream. It was, we ordered 12 assorted. So he was lucky he got a couple crullers in there.
Crullers.
Whatever.
Yeah, excuse the data, right? Like right there.
Yeah, but we just went assorted. We didn't.
Yeah.
And he got through them. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you could get a couple of big ones there.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff like that. So those are fun times, but for sure. 12 that's a big boy bet right there.
It's crazy.
12 donuts, right?
Especially when you guys had them made, especially for
us. Kind of stacked the deck a little bit. I remember that kid because he was always he's always complaining about school. Always complaining about school. Can't wait to get out of here. Can't wait to get out of here. I was like, all right. And when he left, I think he went to Niagara College or whatever. First guy back.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Be like, hey, buddy, nobody misses you yet. Go back around Christmas. I don't need to see you September 14th. People think you're still here.
That's hilarious.
Oh, it was funny. It's good stuff. It was like when Mr. Johnstone and I left to be vice principals. It was until July that we found out. So there was no, most people leave. Everybody like, oh, they have a little thing for you at the end of the year, at the end of June and stuff like that. Nobody knew.
Right.
I remember I was going to No Frills, and I think it was Ashley McGuire. Was she used to work there? I think she lives in Florida now. I think. She's like, Mr. Gifford, where are you? Like, you're not in your class anymore. They moved you to a different classroom. I said, I'm a vice principal now. What? Like, he just up and left. Like, something, people just disappeared, right? And that would just happen like that. So it was crazy.
Johnson was a good teacher, too. I think that every football coach I had as a teacher was a really good teacher. I don't remember if I ever had Carter.
Great.
I don't know if I ever had him, but I think I had everybody else, and you guys were all good. I don't know what the association between football coaches and being great teachers exactly is, but
you'd have some people argue that that's there's no correlation, but I
don't know, but you guys were all great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? I don't know. I think it's just as much about you just treat people well, and the rest is easy, right?
Yeah.
What if you're just good? If
yeah.
You're just a good person and you're genuine. I think.
Well, when you guys
people respect that, right?
When you guys are coaching, do you guys get paid more to coach?
No.
So you guys, maybe that's the correlation that you guys are good people.
Well,
you're giving up more time.
When people ask you, you're doing the same thing though, Joe. You gotta realize this is what you're doing when you're putting together a scholarship or you're mentoring people. It's all about service to others, and you're doing that now. It's just in a different way. Like this, It's easier for us back then in our job because we would just give back because we all were football fans or whatever else. Or we just love the game and we love coaching. But I mean, you're in your avenue, you're giving back too.
Of course,
and that's what but ultimately that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the next generation's never going to be any better if they don't get help from the previous generation.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're gonna pay it forward, and that's what
100%.
All coaches. So it's not just football. I mean, there's so many people anywhere across Ontario. No one's getting paid. They're spending. I mean, with us.
See, I've never thought about that.
Back in the day, like you'd start.
That's unreal.
You'd start at 2:30 to 5:20.
That's so
and
crazy.
Then the weather, and then our season would.
You guys don't get anything for
doing
doing that other than wow.
Nothing.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, because we get something out of it for sure. When you say we don't get anything, we don't get any financial pay. But I mean, just watching, kids develop and winning championships and doing all that stuff. That was the payment that we received, just to see kids be successful and that's all you need.
Junior football is something we're never going to stop.
That's okay.
I love it.
Okay.
Junior football, I didn't go to Lakeshore thinking about football at all.
Yeah.
And junior football, I think the foundations I learned from you guys in the sport are some of the most impactful things I learned in life. Because even though I grew up playing sports, baseball, soccer, I guess that's it, and then whatever else in gym class. Until I played football, I didn't understand what a team sport was. Where, how many guys on a football field? 12, 10, 11? 12.
Football, 12, yeah.
12. One guy takes a play off, it can screw up everything.
Everything.
And I didn't have that concept of team sports. Playing soccer, unless the goalie takes the play off, you can still manage to get through stuff. You can argue that or not, but then in football, learning that everybody's got to give it 100% on every play, even if it's
not going your way,
a screen to the right,
yeah,
and I'm center, I still got to block my guy.
Step the right way.
Do it all. And you guys were awesome with that. And I reference a lot of times throughout my days with people about being team players and how important it is. And you guys taught that through coaching and football. Do you find that's like?
Well, I mean, no matter what you do after, that's if you didn't play a team sport, whatever you do afterwards, most of the time you're going to be doing it with other people. So it's a skill that it's an experience that I think most people should have, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to be. Listen, I have a total appreciation now for things that I didn't maybe appreciate as much back when I was teaching and coaching.
Like what?
Like, I'll give you an example. Like musicals and drama.
Right.
Like, I mean, to see the amount of work that teachers will have to do to actually pull off a high school musical, not the TV show High School Musical, but an actual musical in high school. It is longer than a football season. And there's only 3 or 4 games or performances.
Right.
And they spend
tons.
6 months, 7 months
prepping
for 3 days, for 3 performances, and then maybe a Sunday matinee, and it's all right. And there's so many things that are dependent on it. And I remember, talk about attendance, couldn't make it. Oh, you have an understudy and somebody else, and this was so and so's grandma passed away, and I can't do it. Wait a minute, you're the lead character. Like, how are we gonna? And somehow the show must go on. But I watched people put in an incredible amount. I just got a new appreciation for band and music and art. So I guess again, looking at it from someone who's running a school, and then looking at before everybody a different lens, right? I would just see the football lens. I remember one time getting mad at a teacher because we were going out there. It was freezing cold. It was mid-November. We were the only team playing. It was cold, and there was a staff meeting, and so they had some staff food laid out for the staff, and then not a ton, but not like a buffet. It wasn't a Mandarin, right? But it was just a couple pizzas and whatever else, some cookies and whatever else. So as we're walking through, we're all bundled up, all like 6 of us that were going out to coach, and I grab a couple of slices of pizza and a cookie, and I got a plate, and I'm ready to go out there and freeze my butt off till 5:30, and then drive home. And the staff meeting's going to go an hour, and I'm like, wow, must be nice. The football coaches get to get their food, and I'm like,
wow,
we're going to be here, after. You've had a glass of wine and, or already had your dinner. We're still going to be out freezing our butts off. Like, I should be able to come in here and take the whole day. Like, you get angry, right? I'm going to eat all this pizza. You can't say nothing. You get all angry. Like, you get defensive. But I would always see things with that lens, right? The time that I put in, or we put in, to coach football. But there are so many other things that are happening in the building that people are also giving freely of their time. And I think it took me to not be a coach to realize how much coaching is happening in a building that isn't about a sport, but about some type of co-curricular involvement. And it's impressive, right? It takes a lot.
See, I've never even thought about that with the music.
My God, the band, the amount of work that goes into the band for a few performances.
Wow.
For arts night out, drama through the roof, the amount of time that it takes.
I was never
graduation,
exposed to any of that.
Joe. a graduation ceremony
Right.
takes a village.
Really?
To do it properly, to do it. I mean, like this last one that I was at, like the CIA earpiece.
Yeah.
The ear, little the spiral cord
at
here
your school
with the with the radios. Okay, moving up now. Send parents, send staff, over. Keep pumping, sir. Like it's great, but it goes off without a hitch. It's unbelievable. You're just up there being able to,
Right.
Hey, great. You just grip and grin and shake and give people their diplomas. But the amount of work to have it done properly.
Right.
I
guess
it's one day. It takes you months to get. I mean, it takes you a good month if you're doing it properly to have the rehearsal, all the things, the flowers, the ferns, the speaker, the script.
Right.
Like it's a total appreciation for.
So who puts that all together?
Yeah,
all the teachers?
Usually somebody in student services or guidance, but they need the help of the graduation committee. It might be 15 teachers. You might have 5 teachers just lining them up in alphabetical order. Like it's monumental.
Right.
And I never appreciated it, because I would always be like, I'll be out in the parking lot. Like I'd sign up for a grad dinner, I'd be like, okay, over here. I'm with the VIP guy. Like I'd be like, oh, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you're over here. Superintendent over here. Like it was an easy job. And then when everybody was in there, well, I was done.
Right.
Easy I would always go in, but it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a potluck, right? You sign up for pop of bread, right? And buns. Like that's don't get me on potato salad, dude. You just a couple cases of pop and I'm out of here.
Right. Easy game.
Here you go, right? Like that's it. What do you need? Hot dog buns? Paninis?
No problem.
I'm good. Right? I'm not doing German potato salad. Right? Like don't get me on that unless they make it at Sobeys and I can mass produce it.
Right.
So that was an appreciation afterwards, was to find out, wow, there's so many things that are happening that people are doing.
Yeah.
So not everybody coaches a sport, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? They'll share their gifts somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? You need those. You need those people.
See, that's interesting too. I like that because even when I got into real estate, I realized it was a lot of work, but a lot of people think it's one of the easiest jobs because all they see is put up a sign, put up a sold sign, collect your check. And there's so much that goes into it. And even getting into it, I knew there was a lot. But there's even more than I thought.
Yeah.
And until you're in the trenches,
and you don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. And see, I've never thought about that with at school because I played sports, so I never really paid attention to what all that stuff was about.
Ski club.
I didn't go on that either.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't. That person, they're getting a free lift ticket. Do you have any idea what happens on ski? Like you leave on like a Friday at 3:00, so you're not, like to go to ski club, right? You leave at 1:00. You don't get back till 11:00 at night. You're out there every year. There's some type of injury. Somebody's broken an arm, or somebody's broken something, or sprained a wrist, and they're down in Ellicottville, and you're in a hospital until 3:00 in the morning, and you're waiting for a parent to come pick you up because the other buses had to leave, and you got to sit there and wait. I mean, it sounds you get a free lift ticket. No way. People say, well, I don't. I just. I'll only. I can do ski club, and to me, I'm like, yeah, well, that's good. People don't realize that's a big commitment of time.
For sure.
It sounds so silly, but or so minor, but there's nothing minor. If you're giving freely of your time, it's not minor.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't matter if it's an hour, or if it's 100 hours. Like
exactly.
You're giving your time for somebody else for free.
Yeah.
That's why when you watch coaching, you watch amateur sports and hockey. There's a horrible underbelly to that too, right? Where you just kind of like, even when my son played hockey, I tried. I wasn't always successful. I'll be first to admit.
Right.
But when he was playing travel hockey, to just kind of stay out, and not be like, and yelling at some referee or something like that. There's just that side that people get nasty, right? Like, hey, I think we're fighting a bunch of parents from Newmarket. There's a game of mini sticks that went sideways in the hallway. I think it's go time. Wait a second, what's happening here? We're all grown, but it gets So, but anybody, they get mad at their coach for whatever reason. People are volunteering their time to help your kids, or to help other people's kids, like not your kids but other people's kids, and they're trying all kinds of crazy stuff. Remember chocolate bars? You'd have to sell chocolate bars. Those big ones, like $3 a piece.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to do was like, okay, how much to get me out of this?
Right.
There's 30 chocolate bars at $3 a piece. Okay, what are we at?
$90.
$90. Yeah. They hope you sell 2 boxes. $180. Here's a check. Okay. Give me $180.
I'm done.
Get me out of here, okay? I live in Ridgeway. 180 chocolate bars, that'll last, or what, 60 chocolate bars?
Yeah.
That'll last me 2 Halloweens.
No problem. Yeah.
And then you're the cat's ass, right? You're sending out this chocolate bar that's the size of their head, right?
Right.
They're down the end of your driveway changing costumes and coming back up again right, in the driveway, right? But you know what I mean? Because I know, like, what's going to happen. If I don't pay now, my son's not going to walk around and sell these door to door.
Right.
And I'm going to open up the box and it's going to be half gone. I'm going to come out of my own pocket anyway.
Exactly.
So here's $180. It's for the team. And let me sort out the chocolate.
I like
I'm
it.
not going door to door because that ain't going to work.
I like it.
Crazy town.
I like it. Are we there?
Yeah, I think we're there. Every time we say we're about to finish, something else pops up.
Last one. Last point here.
Yeah.
Your shirt.
Yeah.
Bears beat
Battlestar Galactica.
What's that even mean?
What does that mean? So this shirt is two things. One, this is from The Office. I don't know if you watch The Office TV show.
Minimal, yeah.
So Jim and Dwight have this little thing one time in an episode. So this is an @26 shirt. So there's a group of people from some of the NFL cities around that have that do a kind of a fundraiser for people who are ill. So there's a guy from Buffalo. His name's Del Reed, and he runs @26 shirts. And what that is there's people who are terminally ill, and he'll come up with a T-shirt design, and all the proceeds go to that family from the T-shirt. Right, so it's a very charitable thing that he's doing, and they'll be Buffalo themed, whether it's Bills or Bisons or Bandits or Sabres or whatever they are. So he'll do something. So this came from Chicago, the Chicago Bears. Okay, so but I know it went to charity but it was Bears beats Battlestar Galactica is a famous line from The Office, and so just Chicago Bears, that's
Love
their
it.
logo. So Bears beat Battlestar Galactica.
Love
An
it.
Office person would see that and they'd be like, "That's a great shirt." That's a great shirt. And it is, but it's actually whatever I spent for this $25. 19 of it went to help this family. And
That's
so every
awesome.
month they do a new shirt. So there's 12 shirts a year, and the money goes towards. So I've got. There was another one. I don't know if you know. Was a great shirt. Pancho Villa was a Buffalo Bills super fan. He dressed in the luchador mask and the sombrero.
Love it.
Fantastic, right? Great guy. Like a year and a half ago, diagnosed with cancer. In the 2018 draft, they had him go up and introduce one of the Bills' draft picks. Pulled him up on stage. Fantastic.
That's
as
amazing.
he was battling cancer. This next draft, he was in the hospital. He was in hospice, and the Bills organization called him, and he said he made the pick, but from his hospital bed, and then he passed away about a week later. So he'd been battling cancer. So he has a shirt called Poncho Power, and it's got a picture of him, like this though, like a caricature or cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah,
silk screen on there, and it's a picture of him, with his tongue out, and so I have a couple of Poncho Power shirts because that went to his family and that kind of thing. So you can.
That's cool. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, so there's some good people out there doing wonderful work. They should have a 905 shirts or whatever it is, or a 716.
Right.
416, and you could do Toronto, you could do the Leafs and the Raptors and the Jays, and you can make shirts that kind of got a catchy logo to them or design, and all the proceeds go to a good cause, which is a lot of work involved, but it's
it's called @26.
Yeah, @26 shirts, and there's a couple others that are doing it as well. But
that's
if
pretty
you do that
sweet.
stuff on Twitter, you can see them, and then they show you the design of what it is. And it might be, like I said, it might be something from the Sabres. It might be something from...
You don't buy one every month.
No, I've hit the threshold. So I kind of am selective with regards to which ones I'll see them, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a neat design." And it's like I've hit the threshold with suits. Like I've got 7 or 8 suits.
Yeah,
I'm good. I've got about 300 T-shirts. I think I'm good. If I keep buying T-shirts, every time Canadian Diabetes comes, I have to if I'm going to bring another 5 T-shirts in, I've got to send another 15 out.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's like I don't wear that one anymore. I gotta get rid of that one. But so anyway, so that's what we do. But that's where that shirt comes from.
I like it.
But I still
sweet tea.
Still need my
Joe
blazer.
shirt?
Yeah. How many of those you have?
The Blazers?
Yeah,
3 of them.
3.
Yeah. This is my summer jacket.
40. Oh, you got short sleeves on it?
Yeah, short sleeves. Yeah. This is summer.
Did you have that custom made?
It might have been this one. I just had the sleeves cut off. Got a tailor to cut them off.
And then put the buttons back on.
Yeah,
buttons. Did it right.
Yeah, she did it good. Yeah, I walked in and asked
How
her.
many Anjo Your You shirts are out there?
Tons. I don't even know.
Really?
And yeah, I've got a new shirt that I just got in that maybe you have to throw away 5 shirts, but I'll give you one. It's a shirt I haven't even worn yet because I'm waiting.
Prototype.
Yeah, I'm waiting to reveal it, and it hasn't happened yet. But I'll give you one on the way out if you want it.
Maybe it happens.
Yeah, I have. You'll see.
All right.
You'll see. I'll show you.
Wow, some drama here at the end of the podcast. Look out.
So yeah, if we don't stop, we'll never stop. So, Giff, this was sick. This was sick.
Anytime.